Hi, hello. It's another episode of Passive Pixels. This time I'm going to introduce myself since I never usually do. Hey, it's Edwin. And of course, if you're listening to this, you probably already know that. But hey, maybe one day I might get big and. Okay, I can't even finish that sentence. I have Dorian over here. Dorian, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are we doing, Ed?
I assume that whatever vindictive spirit that decided to come for my PS4 and PS5 is back again. My PS5, it is back. It arrived yesterday. I'm very happy about it. My PS4, still dead, still in the hands of strangers, and I hope that they're treating him well. My PS3 decided to sound what everyone assumes the worst PS4 sounds like. I turned it on to charge some Move controllers. Yes, I know. I turned it on and I'm pretty sure it started levitating above me and saying an incantation I didn't understand because this thing started kicking up the fans. And now I'm assuming that my PS3 is going to die pretty soon as well. So it's another good morning. It's another good morning.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in its defense, I think the issue here is that it knew you were going to charge Move controllers. So it was like, I'm just going to head out now so I don't have to do this.
Look, I need to play Resistance 3 the way Insomniac wanted me to do it. All
Oh,
right?
man.
Ken Levine put the Move controllers in Bioshock Infinite. Why am I not going to listen to Daddy Levine's wishes? Okay?
I forgot how many games had crappy Move implementation. I totally forgot about those.
Yeah, dude, every time that I remember the Bioshock Infinite one, I just wonder, like, how much money did Sony just pull up to Daddy Levine's house and it's like, here you go. Here's a Move controller, figure it out. And he was just like, well, I'm out of a job after this game anyway, so sure, why not?
I mean, yeah, he hasn't made a game since, so hopefully got that Move money.
I still don't think he exists anymore. I think he just ascended from an astral plane after making Bioshock and was like, I'm done being human, and then he like fucked off like at the end of Watchmen.
You're probably right, but I'm selfishly, I hope you're not.
Don't we all? All right. Getting into it, I'm going to just go ahead and get into the list. This is going to be what looks like a thin episode, but like every single time, we're going to find out that it's going to be 3 hours. But like we've already said, we've already gotten an hour deep. So once again, if you guys want to pay me, I will just send you an hour of silence because that's usually what it is. We just sit here in the room silent for an hour and we say that that's the hour that we needed to record. Okay, my list: Resident Evil 0, A Way Out, Final Fantasy 4, Resident Evil 1, Mad Men Season 4, Resident Evil Code Veronica, The Matrix Composer's Commentary. Yeah, I know, weird. The Leftover Season 2, and First Man. Dorian, what is your list?
All right, mine is Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations, Resident Evil 0, Halo 5, Guardians,
Oh, yeah.
Devil May Cry 2, Resident Evil 1 HD Remake, Life is Strange, True Colors, Candyman, and First Man.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right. So, that all being said, does Phoenix Wright get the Weep trial? Do we just toss that in the front?
Both Phoenix Wright and Devil May Cry, I would not consider them weeb games, but I think to piss off the weebs, we put them in a weeb trail and start there.
Okay, fine. I'm pretty sure that you're going to be positive about it, so I don't. You know what? How about this? Let's not give it a weeb trial because then that means that the weebs can claim good shit, and we don't want that.
True. That's actually very true. I'm good with that, though.
I love that every single time that I come here to record, I just choose to wage war against the weebs every single time.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't hate. No, you know what? I do hate the weebs. Fuck you.
Thank you. Yeah, I was about to start calling bullshit on that, but I'm glad that you saw the light before you finished that sentence.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I say that as I have perfect blue steelbook just right. Never mind. No, the
No.
weebs can't claim that one.
Film.
Cinema, film, it's magnifique. Okay, so let's go to film immediately. Let's go ahead and just start off with I'd say the most important one because I happily recommend it to you. I hope you had a good time with it. We're going to talk First Man. Let's go ahead and get the most safe information out there. I love this movie. I'm super positive on this movie. Dorian, how do you feel about this movie?
I think it's a good movie. Really glad I watched it. It's very well shot, well made. It's Damien. He knows what he's doing. So it was
He
good.
tends to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that works for me. Okay, from here, just assume that the rest of this conversation is going to be spoilers. Congrats, we both recommended it. It's a damn good movie.
Which, by the
Okay.
way, if you don't know how this ends, read a little history book. Come on, guys. Just saying.
Look. the fact that Stanley Kubrick shows up at the end, all right, and he just goes, "Yeah, I know. I grabbed a couple of actors. It was in The Shining. How did you not know this?" And I thought it was a wild ending. I could see why the Cultures Wars decided to choose this movie to fight over.
It's funny you say that because I was actually when I was watching it last night, I was like, it'd be really cool if like when they get on the moon, if like just aliens come out and blast them all and like big controversial
No,
ending.
I would have I would have been so fucking mad. I would have been fuming in the empty theater that I watched this in. I Oh my god.
uh,
Okay, fine. All right, I'm gonna just count it down so that we can speak freely. Three, two, one. Fuck! They landed on the moon. I didn't think that they were gonna do it. I
yeah, it
didn't
was
think they were gonna do
yeah, they did it. They did it. America.
it. Fuck yeah. Okay, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's not exactly like a movie that you can spoil because, like, obviously, fucking everyone knows that we landed on the
I really
moon.
hope so. Well, I mean, not everyone. There's a lot of people that deny it.
No. The flat earthers. Okay, everyone who denies that we landed on the moon eventually moved over to being a flat earther. So, like,
That's true.
they've all accepted that we landed on the moon. The moon is actually spherical. It's just that the Earth is a flat plane now.
Good point.
So yes, I wanted to ask you this. What is this movie about? Because as I was watching it, I think maybe even after the second time I watched it, I had something that I fixated on that I feel like is the best way for me to explain this movie. So, Dorian, in your words, what is this movie about?
Well, I was spoiled a bit by you, I think, on this. I believe it was you that called this movie part of his Obsession trilogy.
Mm,
And I like that because I think that's basically exactly what this kind of movie is about. It's about Neil Armstrong and just the incredible dedication and obsession, and what an interesting guy he is, and definitely a little quirky and weird.
mhm.
But basically, what he gave up to in order to do this, it's not an easy life being an astronaut. There's not a lot of jobs that are more difficult that require more dedication to do that sort of thing. And he's going to go down in history books forever because of what he did, but there was a cost with it.
For me, yes, okay, so at least background on that. I consider the first three Damien Chazelle films to be something that this isn't like an official title or anything that he's ever said, but I look at Whiplash, I look at La La Land, and I look at First Man as the unofficial Obsession trilogy. It is people who obviously have a talent for something, who obsess to it almost to a self-destructive degree, and eventually they achieve the greatness that they wanted. Whiplash, it depends on how you want to read it. There are some people who get to that end and it's like, oh my god, he did it. And there are other people who are like, oh fuck, he did it. Oh, La La Land is, of course, two people realizing that they had to sacrifice each other for their own goals. And then this one to me is just a guy who sacrificed so much because he was just emotionally stunted after the death of his daughter. I almost feel like he accidentally wandered into this. Like, he had his daughter die. He was like, I just need something to distract me from it. And then realized, oh fuck, I probably put myself in a worse situation by doing this because everyone who's close to me is in danger of dying at a moment's notice.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's actually a line pretty early on in the movie where they're interviewing him for the program. The guy asks him, like, about your daughter, like, is this going to affect you? And I think he says something like, I think anybody would, or something like that. Like, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. So I thought that line was really honest and really cool. And it's kind of just, exactly what you're saying, that he obviously took this as a way to distract himself from it and kind of bury himself into his work. And there's many points in the movie where it shows that.
I feel like that's a perfect jumping off point to talk about just Ryan Gosling in general. I feel like Ryan Gosling, it depends on how you feel about him, where you think he's actually a really great actor or he's someone that's doing nothing. Where do you land on him? Because personally, every time that I look at him, I think he's just a perfect tool for the Kuleshov effect. Okay, hold on. I'm going to make sure that that's right. Kuleshov effect. I want to see if I use that right. It is. Damn, look at me, man. I am doing this right. Okay, do you know what the Kuleshov effect is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so the Kuleshov effect is a. Hold on. I actually have it up here. The Kuleshov effect is a film editing effect demonstrated by a Russian filmmaker. Basically, what he was trying to prove was that you can have a static image, but once you edit it with something else, it allows you to project basically whatever the other scene is onto the person. So if you just have, so the example that they use, right, is that there's a man, blank expression. Then the next shot is a bowl of soup. And then you cut back to the man. Now, because you have the association of the bowl there, you're like, oh, look at him. He's hungry. Oh, okay. You take the exact same shot of the man, you juxtapose it with a coffin, and then you go back to the man. It's like, oh, look at him. He's so sad that that girl is dead. The Kuleshov effect is basically an editing technique that will trick the audience into feeling whatever emotion and project it on a person depending on what else is there. And I think Ryan Gosling is perfect for that because he is a person who has like such a narrow range of emotions that he moves through that most of the time it's the things around him that influence how you read his expression and all that. Shit, I explained all this when I didn't want to color your opinion. Fuck. um, is this something that you agree with or anything? Fuck.
No, I understand. No, I understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I do think Ryan Gosling is a good actor in his own right, though. I there's too many good movies of his that I've just like enjoyed the fuck out of. Like looking at his filmography: Blue Valentine, La La Land, Blade Runner 2049,
Oh,
Drive. Like there's so much of him I enjoy. Now I think you're right. Like I think a lot of that is due to how he's directed and how he's shot and things of that nature. And he's got that perfect just kind of face and look to him. But there's enough good shit in there that he's actually done that I can give him a pass and say, look, this guy's actually pretty talented. And I mean, if you actually look into, they can do a little bit of research on Neil Armstrong himself. He was a weird dude. Like, he was a really weird dude. So I thought he played him great.
just because I also didn't. Man, segues are really hard right now. There was one thing that I forgot to open with. There's always a joking way that I summarize this movie. Man goes insane just looking for some goddamn peace and quiet.
It's true though. Yeah, he finally gets that peace and quiet when he gets to the moon. Gets that really kind of nice moment of dropping his daughter's bracelet into the crater. Really, really good moment actually, and yeah, it was nice.
Hell, if we're going there, like now this is gonna be half joking, half serious. Seeing him drop the bracelet on the moon is probably something that subconsciously inspired me to want my funeral to be launching my body out into space. Like half joking, half serious, because like half joking, probably like that probably is not what inspired me, but also half serious because I really do want that.
I don't know how
But
much it would cost, but that'd be really cool.
that's why I collect steel books, all right? One day
Yeah.
when I die, hopefully they're worth something, and then you just launch my body into space.
Yeah, the automata should take care of it comfortably, and there'll be enough left over afterwards for the actual wake.
Exactly. The entire Nier Automata Black Box Edition will be enough to afford that. And I'm pretty sure if not, then I can sell the OLED.
There you go. You're good.
So pretty much fuck it. We're gonna go. Damn, this is just so scatterbrained. That last scene just I'm not gonna lie, I was actually really worried because I watched the movie in theaters and I remember specifically that of course the movie's in widescreen as always, but then whenever the door opens up and it goes into the IMAX aspect ratio,
Yeah.
I was so worried, right? I bought the 4K and I looked at the back, and this is something that I learned at least from buying the Nolan movies that have IMAX scenes in it. At the very bottom, they'll usually talk about, oh, this is presented in 2.39 to 1 aspect ratio, or sometimes 1.78. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. They included the IMAX scenes. And when I bought the 4K, I looked at the back and I didn't see that they had a different aspect ratio. I was like, fuck. Oh my god, they better not cut it out. They better not cut it out. So the first time I watched it in 4K and they had it there, I was like, oh thank god. Oh, I was so worried that they cut that out because it is such a freeing moment for himself in the movie that he finally is off of Earth. He's finally away from his problems, and he's finally allowed to actually allow himself to feel and not have to worry about anyone else.
Yeah, it was a very important part of the movie. It's actually one of the funny enough, one of the things in my notes. So I'm positive on the movie. I do think, if I'm being honest, it's my least favorite of his I've seen.
Really?
Yeah, I like La La Land and Whiplash more, but
So
I
one question.
so
La La
sure.
Land. How many times have you watched it?
La La Land, I've only seen it once.
That's why.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to watch it again at some point then. I think this movie would have benefited so much if I had seen it in theaters. It seems like a really
Ooh.
good fucking theater
Oh
movie.
my god.
So that's one thing I do have to give it credit for. Like, it's like if I had seen Interstellar for the first time and hadn't seen it in theaters, it probably would have lessened the impact a little bit. And that's kind of how I feel about this movie. There's so many moments, especially, and that's specifically the IMAX moments when you kind of get that full screen aspect ratio. I think it would have made a huge difference for a scene like that in theater, but it is what it is.
What I love about the scene is obviously it just goes silent, and it hits me every single time once it goes into that IMAX ratio that like I feel like this is going to sound so fucking cliche, but it fits. Uh the actual oxygen being pulled away, I feel is also my breath being taken where I'm like, "Oh fuck, we're here."
Finally here.
This we finally got here. The entire movie's been building up to this and we're finally here. It's Oh my god, that moment in theaters was just something incredible. Just the complete silence. Thankfully, I didn't have any noise bleed from any of the theaters around me. It was quiet, and all
Yeah.
you heard was just the same dialogue that was said. Oh my god, I was about to say 40, but that's 60 years ago now. Jesus. It's so good. And I kind of am sad that it's really hard to tell people that this is not a story about getting to the moon, but instead about a man trying to come to terms with hiding his emotions and finally achieving something so he can finally feel something. It's so hard to tell people that without accidentally spilling the hand of like what makes the movie special.
Well, I think that's, like, why I looked into it afterwards. This movie was a box office flop. And I think
Yes,
that's
it
and
hurts.
I honestly think that's why. Like, I think a lot of people went into this expecting Apollo 13,
It-
and this is not Apollo 13. So
I don't know how much. Wait, do you know the controversy around this movie at all?
no, no, I don't actually.
Okay, so I wasn't joking when I said that the Culture Wars decided to pick this one. I hate it. I fucking hate it. But there was I'm going to put quotation marks, controversy where a couple of chuds on the internet were like, oh my God, they didn't include the American flag being put down, blah, 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 all this.
I didn't even
So,
notice that. Yeah, they didn't.
yeah, and you want to know why you didn't notice it? Because it's not the fucking point.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's not.
This movie isn't about getting to the fucking moon, all right?
Yeah.
This is an emotional journey for Neil Armstrong and someone who's so obsessed with something so he doesn't have to feel. Ah,
Yeah,
fuck.
plus you still got the, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. So what else do you want?
Which, God, just the complete silence, and that's all you hear. You fucking feel it.
That was
Which
the actual audio, right?
I don't know. I
I
have
think
no idea.
because I'm pretty sure that was the act. They just took the audio from the actual event and put that in there. I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure, but that didn't sound like Ryan Gosling to me. So I think that was like the actual audio because it sounded like that. I've heard that many times before, so I think it was. But
So that's the thing. I was hearing it, of course. So you watched it yesterday. I watched it like literally a couple of hours ago. I always listen to it, and I'm always thinking, is that Neil Armstrong or is that? That's the thing because of the noise that's in there. It's like, is that Ryan Gosling just doing a Neil Armstrong impression? Or do they sound close enough that I wouldn't be able to tell? I keep telling myself this every single time I finish the movie and I get to that section. I'm like, man, what's going on? But then immediately the emotions pick me back in. I'm like, who cares?
yeah, I mean that's fair.
Mhm.
No, it was good, and the guy knows how to use music and sound design in his movies, so that was obviously fantastic. Actually, really, that one song with the what is it? It's like the
Da,
just the
da,
kind of the
da, da,
the
da, da,
bongo beats,
da.
and it's like "Whitey on the Moon." I fucking
Oh,
love that song. That song was so good. It was so catchy, even though they were trying to make a like a racial statement behind it, but I still
no,
liked it.
no, okay, Whitey on the Moon, I actually really like it because it feels like that third act turn. You always need the low point going from the second act to the third act. The fact that they have Whitey on the Moon in that spot is the perfect turning point of saying everyone's tired of NASA. We need fucking something or we're pulling the plug because like that's the point where everyone is just tired of NASA. You are taking the most brilliant scientists, you are putting them on rockets and killing them over and over again. And for what? Of course, I don't agree with that statement because we should always be out in space. Space is fucking cool,
Yeah,
and
I'm with
we
you.
as humans should be able to look forward and strive something. Why do
I agree.
what fuck? What's There's a line in Interstellar where it's like, We were so busy looking at the dirt that we forgot
Yeah,
about the stars, something
it's
like
so
that.
true. It's so true.
I love that line because that pretty much explains everything about why space travel is fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate the way we've. I was saying that last night too, watching this. I was just thinking like how disappointing it is how we've had like almost no progress since then because we're too busy fucking arguing about
Worried
other
about the dirt.
stupid shit, worrying about the dirt. And I mean, it's fine, I get it. You got to take care of your own planet, but man, as to quote another Nolan movie, you got to dream bigger sometimes, darling.
I mean,
That's
accurate.
what we need to do. That's what we need
Absolutely
to do.
accurate. But all of that, Whitey on the Moon fits so
Oh, it's
perfectly because
great.
it feels like an encapsulation of what you imagine most of the country is feeling of like, we keep seeing these news stories of you just killing our best and brightest
Yeah,
over
they're
and
just
over and over
dying.
again.
Oh my god! Every time, like when the fire happens inside the
Oh
cockpit and
my
he gets the
god.
call, like that scene was so tough because I'm like, oh man, he's gonna lose it. Like he's already had some bad ones. This one's gonna be the one that pushes him over the edge, man. Like, oh,
Dude,
that was hard.
every single kill, every single death, and every single time you see it on his face that he immediately starts thinking of Karen again. Like you see, this is the Kuleshov effect. And because we know what came before,
Yeah,
we put and project what we think he'd be feeling onto his face, and he allows it every single time.
yeah,
The scene where he sees the two kids. Okay, what I love about the framing of that scene, it's one of the funerals. It's not Ed's, I know that for sure. But one of the funerals where he sees the two kids playing, you see one kid just off frame. He is blocking it, and then the center focus is an empty spot right next to the kids, wordless. But you already know what's going on. He goes over to Claire Foy and goes, "Hey, we need to get out of here," and she's just like, "No, no, we can wait," and then he just runs
he
and
just leaves. Yeah,
just,
and then the guy I can't think of his name,
Ed.
but Ed. Yeah, he like drives her home basically, and then is like, hey, like what's going on? And he's like, I left the party because I didn't want to talk to anyone. And it's like I was like, that's the nicest way to tell somebody to fuck off.
He
Like,
The way he says it hurts me every single time
yeah,
because he just looks like he's like, you don't know how little desire I have in me to not
yeah,
have this conversation. And just, you know what I also love in the most of this part of this movie is that the moon itself feels like it's taunting him the entire movie.
yeah. I can definitely see that. That's like his goal, right? And it just with every death and with every tragedy, it just seems to slip further away from him.
Yeah. Oh my god. Now I have to think about that other scene. That this has no structure. This is just gushing. The scene where he and Ed are walking through their neighborhood, and he drops the first time that he mentions Karen, and they walk by the swing. The sunlight. No, sorry, not the sunlight. Well, technically it would be sunlight, but I'm not trying to be a smartass here. The moonlight just filtering through all the trees. I'm like, oh my god, this is gorgeous. This is
Yeah,
gorgeous.
there's a lot
And
of gorgeous shots in that movie.
yeah, oh shit. Okay, there's another thing that I wanted to bring up. Oh, the fucking music. I forget. Okay, wait, hold on. Before I use the word fugue, have you ever heard of what a fugue is?
Fugue. No,
No.
maybe refresh me.
Okay, so a fugue is a way that musical scores were written for movies previously. They're not too in style anymore, which really makes me sad, but people are still aware of them even if they don't know it, because Star Wars is something that's written like a fugue. So, what a fugue is that you will have a primary theme that keeps getting weaved again in different ways throughout the movie. And this movie has like two or three fugues. Obviously, we have the da 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 dun dun da da dun. So there's one fugue. Uh, Shit. There's another one that I'm forgetting now because, of course, whenever you record things, you just forget everything. But I love that these reoccurring themes just keep getting weaved in over and over and over again, and they keep getting remixed and just adding more pressure. Whenever they're doing the docking scene and you have that gigantic sweeping shot that they hit and the orchestra lands on it too, it's like, oh my god, this is cinema. This is what I've always wanted in my life, man.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I definitely noticed that too. There was a couple of them that are present throughout the movie, and yeah, like the orchestra in it, the music work, it's all very good. It's a lot. Like it's not as present as it was in obviously his other movies because
Oh yeah,
they're about
about music.
music, like literally about music. But it's subtle sometimes, and it's very good.
Honestly, the fact that this is not a musical movie, but it feels like it just has music that's driving it the entire time, even though obviously I love Whiplash more. It's hard stop. I'm sorry. I like Whiplash more. But the fact that this movie takes something that could not be further away from music, astronauts trying to go to space and just tearing themselves up the entire time. The fact that even this movie feels like it has a musical tone to it, the fact that he was still able to get Justin Hurwitz to do the music for it, and it still is something that I want to watch because it feels like it just has that energy to it. I think this is kind of the movie that sealed him for me as my favorite director because you know me, sound. I think that's all I'm about. So the
Yeah,
fact that
it's
he's
a match made in heaven for you.
exactly just oh, speaking of sound, the docking scene.
Yes, very good. The sound design was again. It's another thing where I do wish a movie like this I'd seen in theaters because there's a lot of real crunchy sound in that movie that would have been fantastic.
I don't think I've heard a more terrifying sound than that high pitched whine when they're in that bank.
Yeah,
Just oh, fuck. Oh, every single time that I heard it in theaters, I was like, this is fucking terrifying. When I got to watch it for the first time at home, I was like, this is still terrifying. Even when I watched it now and I knew that it was going to happen, still, it terrifies me every single time. And I think that's also what I love about the movie. It just does not try to glamorize it at all that we are monkeys trying to launch ourselves into space. The moment where they cut off the connection and Claire Foy has to go yell at them to turn it back on, and she just berates them so hard. She's like, "You guys are boys bundling each other to balsa wood or something like that."
yeah, that's a good line.
God, it's one of those things that usually you kind of feel like, of course, nothing ever goes perfectly in life, obviously, but I love that this movie just stops and takes a couple seconds to show, no, we had no idea what we were doing,
Oh, it's
but we
true.
figured it out as we went.
I mean, yeah, look how many people that died. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, there was we no one knew what they were doing with this. It was really just a petty race between the
Yep.
Americans and the Russians to see who could get to the moon first. So
Yeah. Oh my God. Just so often, every single time that they get into a cockpit, you just look around and you're like, this is all just so fragile. Like, literally, at any moment, this thing can just crash through and you're dead. That's it. You're done. This movie kind we're bringing it up again. We're bringing up Inception. Inception, whenever the black scientist is like knocking on the wall and he's like, through there, complete emptiness or something like that.
yeah,
That line encapsulates almost every time that you get into a cockpit in First Man. It just becomes just how can we shoot this in a way to remind you that all of this will kill you so easily.
yeah. There's like the scene where he's talking with his kids and like,
Oh,
that whole awkward conversation. Like the odds are he's not going to be back.
dude, what
Like that. Those are the good odds.
what terrifies me about that scene is that Ryan Gosling is just so emotionally stunted that
Hmm.
he is talking to his kids almost no differently than the press conference he
Oh
had.
yeah, it's exactly like the press conference. Is like he's like, any more questions? No.
No, and the fact that the kids are just like they're children. Of course, they're not going to be able to handle it like they're a reporter or anything. They're asking him just like straight up, like, "Are you going to come back?" And he's just like, "Well, the statistics show," and the kids are just like, no, are you coming back? And he's just
Yeah,
he's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to bullshit my way through this. I have to acknowledge the truth that I might die here. And he just goes, maybe.
yeah, it's a good scene.
But yeah, oh my God, just so much of this movie is more terrifying than it should be. And I think Ryan Gosling kills it. Claire Foy, how did you feel about her?
She was good. I thought she was good. She felt like the typical '60s housewife to me.
Mhm.
She was strong when she needed to be. You know, obviously dealing with those kids. I couldn't tell, but it seemed like one of the kids was developmentally challenged too. I don't know if that was for sure a thing, but it seemed like it. But
I
it was good.
didn't think so. I think for the
Maybe
most
not.
part, the kids just seem like assholes.
Yeah, maybe they were just assholes. I mean, that's possible.
Like for me, I just looked at the kids and part of me just felt like, well, well, this might sound horrible, but whatever. I don't mean it like that. This is one of the few times where I feel like I have to say that before I say it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because their dad's not there. Like he is so absent this entire movie, and it's obvious why. But like, part of me feels like okay, whenever one of the kids is holding the speaker and Claire just over and over goes, "Put it down, put it down." Like, I was like, you can smack him and he's probably gonna be fine. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No
like,
shit, eh?
that's his dad, that's your husband. You can probably smack him so you can be able to make sure that he's still alive, you know? And I'm pretty sure no one would say another word about it.
Yeah, she was way more patient than I would have been.
Oh, no, oh my god, if it were reversed, right, and I was married to someone who was out in space, the moment that anything happens to that speaker, I'm pushing that person into a wall. Like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, I have a loved one who's gone into a frontier that less than 10 people have ever gone to at that point. Fuck that. No, you're not touching that speaker.
Yeah, no, that's a you're giving me that speaker, get back the fuck off. Go fucking play in your on the freeway.
Well, what I am always impressed with in this movie is that every time that I watch it, I always see Claire Foy. I'm like, oh, you're here. And then I forget how much of the movie is given to her. And every single time that it would cut to her, I would go, why are we doing this? And then every single time I remember, oh, she's the grounding agent that needs to remind us that there is a toll for all of this, which obviously, if Neil Armstrong were just around and he was just ignoring his family, I think the connection there is so necessary to remind us that Neil's just running away from being able to connect to other people, which is why it hurts so much whenever he talks to Ed about Karen, because it's the first time that he is willing to speak about her to someone else that isn't Claire Foy. And then what's the scene that happens immediately after? He dies.
Yeah, right, no doubt. Ugh.
Like, that's just the amount of emotional stunting that this movie does to Neil Armstrong over and over and over again is like, yeah, you're gonna be a little bit broken after all this, aren't you?
Yeah, he lived a tough life, man. Like, I actually looked into it after because I didn't know and I was curious. They
Mhm.
did end up getting a divorce, but like way later, like when he was in his 70s. So, I mean, it
Like,
did. I guess it did eventually take its toll. Took a
I
while,
don't know,
but
man. At 70s, at that point, just die. Like, you know.
right, yeah, I don't know. It seems like random time. Maybe he just wanted to get like a young woman before he died.
Hey, you ever been with a guy who's been on the moon?
I mean, yeah, it's a good pickup
I'm
line
like,
to say.
you don't need to say anything else at that point. It's like, oh fuck, man, I'm gonna fuck a moon man. Yeah, sure, why not?
Oh yeah, good shit.
Man, there's gotta be something else. I love this movie that I don't want to leave anything behind. No, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to. Like I said, I think it was a good movie, really well shot, well made, well acted. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to be honest.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was good.
Oh wait, no, okay. I just remembered one thing, and I just want to touch on that. The blonde wife to Ed, the moment where she's just standing there in
Yeah,
silence,
that was a
looking
good
at the
moment.
trunk, and she just turns around and just starts smiling. I was like,
There's that creepy smile on her face, like nothing's wrong. Yeah,
oh, it's so much pain. It's so much pain when I see it, because especially now that since I've been watching Mad Men and watching Mad Men, I whatever, fine. This is going to sound really stupid in someone who only watches media to learn about history, but I'm pretty sure it's not hard to say that in the 60s, women didn't exactly have it easy. So the idea that she just turns around and is already smiling is like, oh, huh, women probably couldn't really, you know, express themselves without being like, ah, she's hysterical, put her down or something like that. So seeing her just turn around and smile like that, I was like, oh my God, you really aren't going to show anything, can you? Oh my God, the pain that you're just hiding in you right now.
yeah, that was a rough scene, honestly, and really well acted and done. Yeah, I don't think you saw her again either. So
Yeah, like, she kind of served her purpose. She kind of
yeah,
is another sign to show you that there was a cost to all of this.
yep,
Oh, one more thing. I think this is pretty much it. I love that, of course, we got Whiting on the moon. Then they get to the moon. And then it hard cuts to everyone on the TV going, yeah, man, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, finally we did it. Like, I love the NASA. I love these space people. It's like, you guys were trying to defund them like a month ago, you fuckers.
yeah, I know, right? As soon as they do it, everyone becomes the biggest fucking fan, of course.
Yeah, of course. It's infuriating. I get it, but still, man, like, ugh. Also, the finality of that last scene where it's just sitting them in silence. Finally, he's gotten away from people and he realizes that he wants a connection. And literally, he can't because he's in quarantine. And so he and Claire Foy just leave the kisses on the glass. I'm like, ah,
Sweet scene.
oh,
Very, very, very good finishing point for the movie.
I love it because it's just it's the perfect encapsulation of the resolution to his story, and I'm like, it's just so good. Oh, hold on, I just remembered another thing that I did want to talk about. The other fugue, the da 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 da. I love it because one, they just keep bringing it back. It's this beautiful motif that I'm always happy to hear. But along with it, I love that it is a play on like 1920s, 1930s serial space music that, the like I love that it sounds like a serious take on that to make it beautiful. It sounds so space like in the most bare bones sense. It's very pulp, but yet Justin Hurwitz figures out a way to make it sound serious. Like I love it. I fucking love it.
Yeah, it fits perfect with the movie. I know the one you're talking about. It's very good.
And it's just perfect to end the movie on. It's just perfect. I love this movie. I love this movie so much. Now, I did want to touch on this since we did mention it earlier as well. So La La Land, you've only watched that once, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I have gotten to a point where every time I watch La La Land again, it is diminishing returns, and it is slowly becoming to a point where I don't even know if I think it's a good movie anymore. So I stopped watching it. Like every single time I watch it, like this is getting worse over and over and over again. And usually it's the point where I see John Legend, where I'm like, okay, we can cut the movie. We're done now. We're just gonna skip to the final scene and we're good.
So I'll have to watch it again and see how I feel about that because I was pretty positive on my first time, but you
Oh
never
yeah.
know.
No, the first two viewings, I was like, yeah, this is good. And then the second time, I just started thinking, like, Emma Stone's kind of a hypocrite here, huh? Like, just I don't know. No, that's an entire conversation. I'm not good on. I'm not going there. I'm gonna give First Man a. Part of me just wants to do technical aspects jokes, but like I don't really want to do that. Uh, yeah, you know what? I'm still gonna go joke score because I've talked about it positively that I'm okay with that. I'm gonna give it a just some goddamn peace and quiet for once out of 10.
Very nice, very nice. Probably give that like a 3.5 stars out of 5. Good movie.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Okay, I have one more movie. Do you have any movies or is that it?
No, I have Candyman as well.
Go for Candyman then.
Perfect. So, Candyman. I guess talk on a high level or low level. I don't know, whatever first. It was
I will
good.
say this. I will say this. I
Mm.
know nothing about Candyman. I also have no interest in Candyman. So feel free to speak as freely as you'd like.
Yeah, well, I will kind of jump into some spoilers in a second, but I'll talk first about it openly. I think it was a good movie. It was enjoyable. It was interesting what they did because the way they marketed this movie was they kind of marketed it as a reboot or a reimagining, but it's really not. It's more of a sequel. So if you hadn't seen the first Candyman, or the original Candyman, I should say, then there's a lot you'd be missing out on, I think. But it was good. It was really well acted. What is that actor's name? Give me a second here. Oh, I cannot pronounce that. Yaha Abdul. Oh, maybe actually Yaha Abdul Mateen the second.
Oh, Watchmen.
Yes, 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 yes. He is great in this movie, and he's a great actor in general. I really do like him. He's in Black Mirror as well, in a really good episode that I enjoy. Yeah, he's great in this movie. It's good overall. To talk more in depth about it, there's some spoiler stuff I'd have to get into. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I guess you don't really have anything else to add because you don't know much about it, right?
No, I'm pretty sure if I just say it 3 times, I'm going to get murdered. So Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. We'll see if I get
you
to the end of the episode.
you got to be looking into a mirror, Ed, unfortunately. So
Okay, front-facing camera on my phone.
there you go.
Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. Well,
All right, you're
okay,
dead.
last episode, guys. Finally,
Oh yeah, final episode! Yay! What do we finally got the joke in. All right.
every single fucking episode is the last episode.
So yeah, so I'm gonna jump into some spoilers now. So I'll count this down for anyone who cares.
Got it.
3, 2, 1. So here's where I have issues with the movie, and your enjoyment for this movie, I think, will directly kind of relate to how you deal with socially justice wokeness bullshit.
Oh, okay.
Um, there's a lot of it in this movie, and I don't think it's to the point where it ruins the movie for me, but it's pretty obvious that what they're doing with the movie. And I'll give you a perfect example. So first of all, everybody that dies in this movie is white. Literally every single death in this movie is a white person.
Okay, okay.
And to
Raising my hand for a second. Raising from my hands for a
go ahead,
second.
go ahead, go
That
ahead.
sounds hilarious. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
Well, and you get to there's even a scene, and I love this scene so much where there's like these 5 kind of bratty high school well, I think they're college girls actually.
Mm,
And they're kind of they were bullying a black girl earlier, and you could tell she's just one of them's like just a stuck up bitch, obviously.
uh-huh.
Like your typical girl, right?
Mm,
And they also all 5 of them go and they're like, "Oh, let's do the Candyman thing. We're gonna do the Candyman thing, right?" So they
mhm,
start doing it. They're like, "Candyman, Candyman." And then like the one girl, so they're all white except one of them's Asian. And
uh-huh.
the Asian girl's like, "Oh, I'm scared. I'm leaving." And then she leaves. So of course she doesn't die. And I was like, "Oh my god, it's so obvious." Like
Okay.
it's so
I
obvious.
like it for the wrong reasons because I'm thinking of Cabin in the Woods. You know how, like, in
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods, it basically flips up every single horror trope where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, the stoner is actually the one who figures it out. So, like,
Yeah.
that's what I kind of okay. Was Candyman supposed to be taken somewhat seriously? Because if not, I understand why that's a problem. But I also don't care about it, so that sounds hilarious to me.
Well, I mean, it is a horror, and I think they're trying to make it a serious message, but it just kind of makes it funny to me, right? Like, I'm with you there. I thought it was funny. And then, I mean, literally, so it's sprinkled throughout the movie, and it's never a point where I still enjoyed the movie. I think it's good even without that shit.
Mhm,
But then you get to the very end of the movie, and that's where it just kind of goes like, okay, over the line. Basically what happened is the entire mastermind of the movie is a different is a guy that he that the guy who's investigating Candyman. He meets him earlier in the movie and gets his help with some things, and he's the mastermind, turns out, of the entire thing.
mhm.
And he basically what they're trying to say is that Candyman is a boogeyman made by white people. um because to kill to basically but they need to reclaim him and make him a hero of the black people is what they're basically saying. Oh, Ed's gonna watch this movie now. I think I've just sold him on it.
I'm so God damn it. I'm sorry. I love the idea of like, oh my god, imagine if it suddenly started hating Asian people. Like this is what's on that level for me.
Right,
Like,
right, that would
yeah,
be amazing.
Candyman is a king for the KKK. Like, what?
Right, no, exactly. So it is. So the guy actually hasn't killed anyone, but basically his girlfriend's holding him in his arms, and he's got a stump for an arm. He's about to die anyways, and then the cops come in, and without even asking anything, they shoot him. So she ends up getting like arrested and put in the back of a police car, and then like a police chief goes in there and is like, "Okay, what did you see in there? You saw him like act violently first, right?" Like that's what you saw, right? Like
Oh
we
my
didn't do anything wrong. That's going to be your story, right? And I was like,
god.
okay, all right, guys. Like I get it. It's you're now you're getting a little bit strong. But then it's kind of fun because she like says Candyman in the driver's mirror 3 times, and he just kills a bunch of cops in a really gruesome way, which is kind of cool. But then at the very end, they kind of tie it all together cool and bring Tony Todd back, who was the original Candyman.
Hmm.
He gets like a cameo in it, which is kind of cool. So, like I said, it's a good movie. I think there's a lot of cool kills in it and stuff like that. But if you're the type of person that just like hates the woke bullshit, like or can't find humor in it, then you'll fucking hate this movie. So
Okay, so one thing, is it just too heavy-handed where it's eye rolling, or is it so heavy-handed that you can laugh at it?
until the end, I was laughing at it and thought it was funny. The last scene with the cops is like, okay, like this was a little bit too much even for me. Until that point, I thought it was pretty funny, honestly. Like I was because it was like like they don't implicitly say it, but every person he kills is white. And I'm like, okay, I can see what you guys are doing. You're not saying it, but I see what you're doing here. And then yeah, you get to the very end, and then they just kind of basically barf out like, okay, yeah, this is what we're doing. I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like I said, there are some interesting parallels to it, and I think it's interesting in a way, but it's a little bit strong.
Just looking at it, it makes me think of the alternate ending for Get Out, where I think that might have been a stronger ending. Did you ever see it?
No, it is the alternate ending. I didn't know there was one. I'm
So
curious.
you know the alternate ending where the comic relief shows up in the cop car to
Yeah.
save so the alternate ending is that he actually does get arrested by actual cops.
Oh.
Yeah, like, I think that actually is probably a much better ending. It's way darker, but then again, it's a
Yeah,
horror movie, so why not? But, I mean, the
yeah,
entire idea of the movie is already race-related at its core, that it ending like that actually probably fits better than the happy ending.
yeah. No, I agree with that. Actually, that would have been a good ending.
But, okay, so that's my question, because that I was using that as a jumping off point. Does Candy at the base level try to go race with it, or does it just feel like, "We're gonna do a horror movie, and we're not really gonna try and tie it in at the base level?"
No, no, it's definitely race related. Like that's the whole point of the movie. Like if you ever see the original Candyman, basically the story goes that guy gets unfairly accused of putting razor blades in children's candy because he's black.
We've all been there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um,
I don't think I'm
and then he
dark
gets
enough to
shot.
get away with it like maybe he did, but
Yeah, no, no doubt. And then he gets shot down by the police, killed by the police, without even basically getting a trial or anything like that. And then it turns out that the razor blade still appears in Candy's a couple days later. They just killed the wrong guy. And that's kind of how the original premises Candyman works. And then he goes on to just like haunt black people for some reason, which is kind of strange in the original. Like I do kind of get that point. It's like, okay, I don't really understand that part of it. So it's interesting. Like I think with what they're doing in the reboot, there's some stuff in there that makes sense. And I don't mind that they took it in this direction because again, it makes sense. And it's better than like so this is Jordan Peele didn't direct this movie, but it's part of his production company and he produced it and I think helped write it.
yeah.
It's way better than the politically correct woke Twilight Zone shit I was watching for a bit. So I'll give it credit for that. But
I'm sorry. I love the idea that the cops shot down a black man and Candyman was like, "Damn it, I'm gonna haunt black people because they weren't a good enough fall guy so I could get away with it."
yeah,
Like that
it's
sounds so fucking funny to me. Oh my god.
yeah, it was definitely weird. Like, so I that's why I kind of understand. Like, it's judging off of that context of the story. Like, the new one does make a bit more sense why he's basically trying to, kill all these white people and go after them. But if you can handle the politically correct wokeness bullshit, then there's definitely some enjoyment to find in this movie. Or you might just laugh at it. But even then, I think it's enjoyable. Like, the movie it definitely doesn't take itself overly serious, which I can appreciate at times. So.
Okay, good. No, that's the thing. I did not know anything about Candyman. I didn't even know that the razor blades things came from Candyman. So that's actually a revelation to me right now. I'm actually happy that it doesn't seem like they didn't crowbar it into something that isn't there. The fact that it already has that at a base level makes me happy that at least, they considered that. But then again, I'm also not shocked that they did it in a very heavy-handed way because of course subtlety is dead.
Yeah, I mean and that's just kind of, Jordan Peele. I love the guy, but that's kind of his mo now. I've noticed, especially after Twilight Zone. So I think that's what you're going to get out of him. And I'm sure, what's that new movie he's making?
Nope.
Nope. Yeah, Nope. That's it. I'm sure Nope
Jesus.
is going to be something similar to that. So
I can't wait. I hope that movie bombs just because I want to see all the headlines that
oh my
people have been
god.
saving for months of like Jordan Peele's Nope, colon, Nope. Like
Yeah.
just these articles titles write themselves. I cannot wait. I hope the movie's bad. Like because I can't wait for the Nope poster to become a meme where people were like, "Oh man, should I go watch that?" And they just post the poster saying Nope.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's gonna be some good memes out of that if it's bad. I mean, even if it's good, I think you could fuck around with it, but definitely better if it's bad.
Nah, I know this is probably there's earlier examples, but this is the one that my mind goes back to. It's the Wii effect. Everyone heard Wii and immediately was like penis, but now everyone just goes, "Yeah, it's the Wii," and like no one even blinks. So if something is good, or okay, not good, if enough people like it, no one will pay attention. But if it goes bad, people are going to hang that over its head the entire fucking
True.
time. Like
Oh, that
imagine
that's
look
true.
at Wii. Everyone doesn't blink at it, but as soon as you say Wii U, everyone's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I like the Wii U, but
Yeah, I know you do, but it's you.
yeah.
But even you have to admit that the Wii U was not exactly the best name.
No, no, the Wii U was a horrendous name. I think that was a big part of the problem why it failed so bad.
Oh, exactly. It's like, okay, I just want to buy the tablet. Oh, it's an entire new box? Nah, I'm good.
But that's Nintendo, man. The new Nintendo DS 3X.
Jeez,
Fuck
dude,
off, Nintendo, with your naming. You're awful.
fucking up just the amount of SEO that you can find, like SEO, search engine optimization, just saying how easy something is to find. The SEO on the new 3DS always pisses me off. It's like, oh, I want a new 3DS. Well, do you want the new 3DS or a new 3DS? Like, I want to strangle you, Google. Why do you? There's no way I can help you here? The new 3DS post 2017, like, thanks a lot, fucking Nintendo. At least it's called the Switch OLED. Thank you. You
Yes,
made it easy for once.
the swoled.
Uh,
You got
uh,
that at least.
Jeez, I want to see like the most beefiest Joy Cons. Like, I want to see like if they were doing push-ups for like 10 months in prison. Like, I want that for it to be called Swoled.
It better be.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
way off topic now.
yeah.
That's basically what I have to say. It was good. I really haven't thought about it a lot since then, so I mean, it's definitely I will never probably watch it again.
Hmm.
Definitely didn't need to go see it in theaters, but it was fun. So
I'm gonna give Candyman a uh, blame the people that should have taken your blame out of 10.
yeah, that's a good review. I'd probably give it a 2.5 stars out of 5.
Higher than I expected. I was thinking that was going to be a solid 1/2 to 2. Okay.
Yeah, decent. I mean, it may be 2. It's bordering on 2, but I'll bump it up to 2.5 because, fucking, it was funny sometimes.
I the lack of confidence in you saying that, like, okay, I guess it was fine. I guess
All
could
right,
be
all right,
worse.
maybe it's 2 stars out of 5. Fuck it.
If we stay on this segment, let's see if I can get you down to 1.5.
No, let's move on. I don't want to go 1.5. I'm not a monster.
Okay, it's good to know that you're not the one putting blades in Snickers or anything for children.
No, not yet. Not yet. That's
Yeah.
that's 30. That's 40 years from now.
Okay, all right. The next one I got is The Matrix Composer Commentary. Now, look,
This is all you, Ed.
no, don't worry. No. You're gonna see. All right, I'm about to backdoor this shit. You're gonna see. Okay, The Matrix Composer Commentary. Obviously, we have The Matrix Resurrections coming. That is all that. Blah 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 blah. And of course, I'm sitting here. I'm working. You can either have a podcast on, you can have YouTube, you can have music playing. But since I'm still working from home, what I do often is that I'll look through my movies and I'll go, which one of these movies do I want to learn a little bit more? So I'll grab a movie, I'll check and see if there's a director's commentary. I'll just put it on behind me. I keep working and I listen to the director's commentary. Every once in a while, when they say something like, oh, this shot, I'll just turn around, look, and go, oh, okay, that's the shot that they're talking about. And then I just turn back around. So this is the way I've been watching director's commentaries. And of course, with the Matrix on the brain, I decided to pull up the Matrix one. Shockingly, there's not a director's commentary, which really annoys me. The cast and crew commentaries that I listen to, I'm never a fan of them because it never feels like I want to hear what one person's opinion of it was the entire time instead of, oh yeah, this is my opinion on just this one scene. It's like, this is still cool, but I don't want this to replace the director's commentary. So I was going to cut it off. I was either going to cut it off or I was just going to listen to the cast and crew one. But then I noticed that they had a composer's commentary, and I thought, I've never seen that. That's actually really cool. I'm going to watch that. And pretty much what it was is that the entire sound effects, the dialogue, the ambient noise, all of that was cut out. And all it is the score. And then every once in a while, the composer would talk over it to explain some of the design ideas with the scoring of the music. And I thought, this is fucking cool. And watching this made me realize that The Matrix has a way more of a unique sound, not only just sound effects, but in the actual music itself that I hadn't realized until I did this. Just listening to this, I was like, oh man, I feel like I just know what the Matrix is supposed to sound like because of this. Now, the reason I even backdoored this is because I had this here. Now we're gonna segue and just talk about the Matrix Resurrections instead. How did you feel about the trailer?
Okay, so I guess I should be talk about how I feel about the movies in general because that's obviously going to paint my picture a little bit clearer here.
You're an
I think
NPC, damn it. Okay, you follow the sheep and you say that the sequels are bad. Okay, you're wrong.
I'm sorry, but it's honestly how I feel. The first movie is absolutely fantastic. I think it's it's a movie I actually haven't seen in a while. I'd like to revisit it at some point. And I think what I appreciate the most is you can totally treat that as a standalone movie if you
Correct.
want to, and ignore the sequels, and it still makes it great. So no matter what comes after it, doesn't ruin the first one for me, which I appreciate them for.
Correct.
The second movie, I think, I think it gets a little bit too much hate. I don't think it's bad. I think it's fine. I think it's just not an amazing follow up to the first movie, in my opinion. but I think it's still fine. The third movie, though, I'm take it in the trash, shoot it into the moon. I don't like it one bit. It basically, when I watched that, I was like, okay, I'm done with the Matrix. I never need any more Matrix, and now we're getting more Matrix.
Hmm, hmm.
The trailer itself, I was not really interested in it at all. It just felt like a cash grab. Something felt off for me
Hmm.
until I have to admit somebody posted that thing in the
Yep.
Discord
Yep.
where there's a shot where somebody's watching the Matrix, the original Matrix, while the scene's going on. And I was like, huh, okay, if you're gonna start getting fucking weird and meta with it, that could be a bit more interesting. But it depends on what direction you take it. So I'm interested to hear more about it. If there's more trailers, I'm gonna watch them because I'm kind of intrigued. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay.
You're definitely more excited for I am though. So go nuts.
I don't know about that. I love all of the Matrix. I love it. It is something that for the other movies, I struggle if it's nostalgia or if it's me just legitimately loving it. The first movie, positive. Just The Matrix and Inception are probably the two examples that I can think of if you need to write so much and just so much exposition, those are the two examples that you look at because both of those movies find a way to intrigue you into figuring out what's going on. So even though you have characters who, for the most part, in their script is just explaining shit to the audience so people can understand what's going to happen later on, and then just give you straight action at the end that you understand without explanation, I feel like those are the two movies that you look at because every single time that they speak, and it's literally just information. Like it's nothing that's moving the characters that along or anything. It's just to make sure to let the audience know, and you still care about everything that's going on. Incredible, impressive. The second one, I understand why people have complaints because the first one is a ridiculous balance of just, okay, here's some philosophy, here's some ass kicking, here's some philosophy, here's some ass kicking. Like the pacing and the way that they have the story beats doled out in the first one is just an art. There's no way that anyone can just do that. Just the fact that they did that is stuff that is of legends. But going into the second one, it feels like the divide between the philosophical and the fights is literally hard lines where it's like, okay, this is the fight scene, this is the quiet conversation that we're going to have. Oh, here's a scene of a woman getting an orgasm from a piece of cake, and now here's a fight with swords. So like it feels like it's not blended in as well. And then the last one is just icing. It's just straight icing. So I understand what everyone complains about, but I think what it is that the world of the Matrix is just so fucking cool that everything still fits within that I have no problems. I do have one question. How deep in it were you after Reloaded?
What do you mean deep? Like, my interest in the third one
Yes.
waning
Okay, so
because it was
uh,
fine. It was fine. I just like I don't know. Like that didn't live up to the first one for me. I will watch the third one, but it was definitely waning.
because I know, of course, that these movies came out like I either like 6 months or a year apart. No, I think it was like 6 months. And I wonder if this had maybe a bit of a lost effect where people started building up what the ending of Reloaded meant. And because Revolutions didn't exactly deal with any of that and instead was just kind of like pure icing, I don't know if that's what screws it up because the third one, if people have a problem with the fact that it's all icing, I get the complaint, but if not, then I wonder what the complaint is.
It's I'm gonna be honest. Like I haven't
You,
watched it
you don't
since I
remember? Okay.
originally watched it, so I don't really remember too many specific plot points.
Mhm.
I just remember not being happy with where it went, how it ended. I know I had issues with just kind of some of the over like it just seemed like the third one was a little bit there wasn't as much as the philosophical stuff I thought
Oh,
at other
there's not.
points
There's
that I
none.
wanted. And that's kind of what I enjoyed about the Matrix so much, right? Like I obviously I like the action stuff as well, but I kind of need that balance, that philosophical stuff. And I definitely agree in Reloaded, you're right. It's more boom, boom, line, right? There's not really a
Mhm.
good mix there. But in Revolutions, it just goes completely out the window, I thought.
Oh no, no, there's no philosophy in the last one at all. Like nothing. And honestly, I'm okay with it because since the second one and third one kind of like are back to back, like it reminds me of how the first one obviously has like, dude, it's so. Of course, I wasn't even watching the composer's commentary, I was just really listening to it. But even from the music, I can tell like the first half has like kind of more like low key music. It's more of like just pensive music, just enough that it doesn't distract you, but it just adds to the feeling that you have, like the tension and the like the desire to learn. And then the second half just starts going insane, where it's just hard horns and just sharp sounds, and I'm like, okay, yeah, even the music supports it. I think that like I'm not trying to convince you. I feel like it's why I'm sure I'm more trying to explain why I think I'm okay with Revolutions is because I think that the second and third movie still kind of follow the formula that the first one had, just on a larger scale. Where the first half is kind of a little bit more of the philosophy mixed in with action, probably mixed in worse in Reloaded than the first half of the first Matrix. And then you have the second half that just goes insane with action because like there's almost the philosophy goes out the window in the original Matrix by the time that you get to the point where Morpheus gets kidnapped, and then after that it's just action scene, gunshots, bullet time, spinning around, all this cool shit. And then I think maybe like at the very end, philosophy comes back in the original Matrix. I think maybe that's why for me it still works. And then the fact that the Colonel Sanders scene in Reloaded is something that I did have to stop and read. I hate that scene because technically it's just done so poorly where they dump so much information on you that you can't follow. To the fact that you should probably read an article afterwards to figure out what he's saying. But I love the information he doles out. I just hate the way he presents it. And I think because I love the information he's dropping, I tend to actually love it.
Yeah, that's fair. I honestly can't. The problem is, it's been so long since I've seen it. Like, I watched this movie once and I didn't like it, and I've never returned to it. So I am interested. I actually would like to rewatch the original Matrix
Special
sometime.
episode!
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm the best choice for that one.
Nope.
I would like to rewatch the first one because I do like that movie quite a bit, but I don't know if I'm gonna watch the other two again.
I would want Poot to do it, and I think he's actually negative on them too. So I think you'd have representation, but I wouldn't mind editing a third track if you did want it. However, the one thing I request is that the Animatrix will be there.
No, and I totally forgot about the Animatrix. I actually do that one. I legitimately wouldn't mind watching because, like I said, the whole premise of that reminds me of Love, Death, and Robots, and I've been told it's actually similar to that. And I
Yes.
actually really like Love, Death, and Robots, so I think I'd be more positive on that.
So the Animatrix, man, I want to talk about one of the shorts there. Like, so pretty much all it is just stories from the Matrix done in different art styles from whoever that they went to go grab. And the my favorite one is actually probably maybe some of my favorite animation work in general, where like if I had to put up I guess just animation up in general, I feel like that 7 to 10 minute short might be some of my favorite. The premise is basically these kids in Japan find a glitch spot. Like I don't want to say anything more because I also don't want to ruin it, but like pretty much
Yeah,
that's what it is, and it's oh
yeah.
my god.
We'll talk about it more after I watch it because I probably will. And even if I whatever with the special episode or whatever, but if I watch it, I'll definitely at least bring up the Animatrix a little bit on here. So definitely on my list.
Preamble out of the way, pretty much the trailer for you just kind of seems like it just feels like there isn't a story to be told. However, you are curious enough because of the fact that they might get meta with it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Me personally, what I don't like is that it just looks off, and I didn't realize how much I like the look of it because I'm just used to the green tint. The real world looks good though. Like the real world has that bluish tint that the real world always had. So that gives me hope that maybe, I don't know, maybe the Matrix decided, you know what, we're done with green. We're going to use red now. But the problem is that the original movies had the three colors in use. Blue was the outside dead world, red was Zion, and then green was a Matrix. And the fact that those three colors are the ones that contrast the hardest with each other, it makes me happy to know that whenever you saw a frame of the movie, you knew immediately where you were. Like, there's no way you can get Zion mixed up for the Matrix, mixed up for the real world, mixed up for Zion, and et cetera, et cetera. And just watching this trailer and the fact that you can kind of see normal sunlight, like, not gonna lie, this movie kind of reminds me of Bad Boys for Life. Take that what you will from that info, but the fact that like at least Bad Boys 1 and Bad Boys 2, for better or for worse, you can tell that Michael Bay made those movies, and you can tell like his fingerprint is all over that. And then Bad Boys for Life, it just kind of felt like a movie that was like, yeah, and we're bad boys too. It's like, I don't know about you, but you're fine. You're fine. You're just not Bad Boys. Watching this feels like, yeah, we're a Matrix too, and it's like I don't know about that. So the trailer for me just kind of looks like, yeah, you think you're the Matrix, but I'm kind of with you right there that if they get really weird and meta with it, I think that's the only thing that could save it for me. Because if it's just straight up, hey, Neo is now older now, and we're just gonna kind of explain how he's old. No, don't worry about it. We just want to have cool action scenes. I'm like, that's gonna be really disappointing because okay, at least with Colonel Sanders' speech, did you understand any of that? Okay, or no, okay, you probably didn't, but like, do you remember any of that or the implications of all that or no?
I was just gonna say I don't remember any of it. I remember Colonel Sanders talking, but God, if I remember any of it.
Respect, respect. You lived an unburdened life, unlike the one that I led. So Colonel Sanders, apparently, what I love of that scene is that he basically looks at Neo and it's like, "Hey, you know how you think you're Jesus? No, you're actually an error that is intrinsic to the Matrix. You are not the one. You are actually the sixth iteration of the one because there have been six matrices matrices, I guess would probably be the proper term. There were six matrices that existed before you, so you are the sixth one. You are not special. You are actually expected. All of this. So the fact that they had him like just as a Jesus character, and then they went and explained it like, no, you aren't actually that. You have been in control this entire time. The entire rebellion, that's still something that we allow. It is a control mechanism. Like, that's fucking cool. So the idea that they just come back and they really need to square that with me, because if this is just another control program where the Matrix again is trying to control the one to still be able to keep using humans as batteries, I'm so in. But the idea that they had the Matrix playing in the background feels like, okay, at this point, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that there are people in the Matrix who know that they're in the Matrix, and the Matrix trilogy is a documentary now? Like, I don't like that they're opening this door. Then you have Morpheus and Trinity, which is like Morpheus is probably that actor. I'm gonna try his name because I'm not gonna let you drown alone with trying to say it wrong. Yaha Abdul Mateen 2, the second. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that
Beautiful.
wasn't too bad. Actually,
That was pretty good.
Yahia. Oh wait, no, Wikipedia has it here. Yahia Abdul Mateen. Oh, okay, look at that. You know what? I should start reading off names whenever people graduate out of college. I didn't struggle with that as much as I assumed I would, but seeing him as Morpheus, I'm just going to steal that quote that I read. He looks like he was the person that was the parody version of Morpheus in Scary Movie 3. Like, I don't like it. He doesn't look right. It makes me sad because I know that he's a good actor. So seeing him in what assumedly would be Morpheus bothers me. I don't like the idea that they're bringing back Morpheus as someone else, even when you bring back Neo and when you bring back Trinity and you bring back those actors. There's something about this that just feels completely off, where it's like the you're taking some of the old, you're removing some of the old. I don't know where I stand with this. All I know is that I want to put money into this because if we can get an Animatrix 2 out of this, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean that's a good reason for it, if nothing else. No, it's definitely interesting looking. I will see it. I don't know if I'm gonna rush to theaters, but
I will.
like I said, the only thing that intrigued me was the whole meta aspect. So I mean, we'll see on that.
Yeah, like I don't know that it. What is best case scenario for you?
Best case scenario is honestly, best case scenario is that it's probably I probably watch it like a few months after on demand, and it ends up being a pleasant surprise because it's just really meta as fuck. It's kind of trippy with how they do things, and it manages to be something that I enjoy more than the other two, like 2 and 3, I should say. That's probably best case scenario.
You know me, and you know I love me some meta narrative. What is the meta narrative you would want here? Not speculating or like, oh, it's probably going to be this. Like, no, no, no. What meta narrative do you need here for you to be like, yes, that was something I enjoyed?
I don't know. Like that's a good question. I feel like if they want to go crazy with it and just break the fourth wall a little bit, then maybe that's the best way to do it.
Hmm.
But it also like that post I posted about on the Discord where they're like, "Oh, like people comment on the Matrix movies and how they don't like the sequels." That also sounds a little bit cringe to me.
Mm,
So I don't know. It's a really tough balance to strike. I honestly don't have a good answer for what exactly I would want.
mm.
I would have to just see it. Like smarter minds than me would have to come up with it.
True. The meta narrative that I could see pleasing people would be if they somehow retcon and fix the second and third movie using this movie. That's the only thing I could imagine. That's the thing. I know for sure most people don't like the sequels. I know that I'm in the minority for that one and I accept it. But that's the one thing I think could be done where what if you do this and I don't know. There's got to be some clean way to retcon. Like in my head, I'm thinking, what if this could be a Days of Future Past situation where they somehow don't? Okay, people aren't positive on those sequels, but if you make a movie that's erasing them, but still somehow like not completely erasing them, if you can do more Days of Future Past than you go like Terminator Genesis, I think that might be the way to win it, but I also don't know how you can do that. And I'm almost wondering if it's my bias towards those two movies where I'm like, no, please do not erase them. Please do not. I need my Colonel Sanders conversation about how that he's not Jesus, he's just a number in the machine. Like I that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe if they somehow contextualize the last two movies into something that people like, I think that's the only way that they could go that would get most people in. Because if not, I feel like it might just end up being a bad boys for life situation.
Guess we'll find out on December 25th, won't we?
God, this is going to be the worst Christmas gift I've gotten since The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
So, the Matrix composer commentary score. I'm going to give it a out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I love the original Matrix. The composer edition, I'm never gonna watch that. I don't know. Out of 10.
I mean, accurate, okay? Like, only I would be someone who looks at a commentary for a composer and goes, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Please tell me about why you chose the ba, ba. Like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that seems like a thing made specifically for you. So
Dude, I really am a parody of myself. Okay, was that it for movies?
yeah, that's all I got for movies.
Okay, TV? Yeah, TV. Okay, do you have anything for TV or no?
I didn't put it on my list, but I will say that I've randomly been finding myself watching a few episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Not on my list. Funny show though. So I mean, I know you're watching it too, so I'm sure you'll have some stuff to say in the future on it. But
Fair enough.
I didn't even put it on my list because it was just randomly I watched a couple episodes. So
Understandable. Honestly, moving forward, I almost wonder if I'm even going to include comedies outside of just using them as little footnotes because most of
that's
the
fair.
time I just end up repeating myself and going, you see, this is what I like about this comedy. While I like memes, blah, ugh, I enjoy being self parody when it's not boring. At that point, I'm reaching self parody that's boring. So Eh. But yeah, I did not watch Always Sunny recently. Trips and all that. I don't really want to be watching Always Sunny on a plane and cracking up. You know, like I'm wearing a mask. Like that's just going to be generating heat. That's not a good idea. What I did watch though on a plane because I didn't think I would have to pay that much attention to it. I was wrong. Was Mad Men season 4? I finally got around to starting it up again, and okay, this show is starting to become what everyone's talking about for me now. Like season 4 takes itself a lot more seriously. It still kind of has like the story of the week format a little where there's always going to be another client that they need that day that's going to be the focus, but the fact that they're still focusing so much on um, I don't know, just okay, do I 3 2 1 the company that they already have, the fact that they are focusing on trying to keep this company afloat and the interplay that each one of them has now with the added responsibility that they have with, you know, owning a company, I'm actually really enjoying that because it feels like everything that they do with these clients is technically now moving the plot forward since this is something that they're all invested in. Like it's the difference between working for a company and then owning your own. Like if you work for a company, you only really care about what you have and then when you clock out, you're done. But the fact that all these people now have their own stake into their own company, suddenly everything that they do feels like it matters more, and that's working for me a lot more than the previous seasons. Previous seasons were good. It's just that it's rough. Like if you're into the slow pace, like it's probably going to work for you. I feel like the slow pace was a bit of a detriment where everything else around the slow pace was so good that I kept thinking, man, can we actually see things happen now? But season 4, all of that with the clients, but more than anything else, the California story with the previous Mrs. Draper just getting cancer. Oh my god, that was just the acting display from John Hamm is just something that I will never get over because it angers me knowing that we just haven't gotten more of him. To be fair, he did have 7 or 8 seasons of a TV show. Like, so in other words, this man is good. He probably could have just retired after this and we could have never seen him again and he would have done everything he needed to do. But it's still going to make me mad because it's like, oh my God, John Hamm needs more in film. Like, of course, TV, still good, but God, that's the thing. It took maybe about, I don't know. Between those 3 seasons, I want to say maybe there was a couple inflection points where I was like, ah, yes, I see it. This, I think, is his best so far. So I would love to be able to have more people see it. Dorian, do you remember anything about season 4? Is there anything that stuck out to you? Maybe the cancer thing or the job thing, handing it to you?
Well, as we all know, I'm an old man, so I don't remember shit. But I did, you know me, I love my Mad Men, and yeah, the cancer storyline was pretty good, man. Really sad. There was a lot of really good beats from what I remember in season 4. If I'm recalling correctly, that is the season where they first like take ownership in their own company, right?
Yes, that is correct. Season 3 ends with them moving over.
Yeah, they cliffhang that on season 3. Yeah, and I agree. Just bigger stakes, right? There's more stakes when you kind of get your skin in the game and you own the company and you're involved in all those decisions. So I love the relentlessly slow pace of the show. I still think it's relentlessly slow all throughout the show.
Relentlessly slow, my
Oh,
God.
it is. It's a relentlessly slow pace, especially those first few seasons.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I think it's a great season. And for me in Mad Men, I there was not one season I thought was bad. It was very consistently excellent for me. And it gets great as it goes on. So
I am very excited. Honestly, if we weren't recording this, I'd probably be watching it right now because considering that I'm doing a work check in every 2 hours, which is the gaps that I'm recording in, the fact that I am basically landlocked to being home, Mad Men is usually what ends up happening those weekends. So I know once I'm done with this, I'm probably going to watch more, and I'm very excited. But yeah,
nice.
Mad Men is a smoky den at the bottom after you've been divorced out of 10.
Top 10 TV show of all time for me, baby.
Damn, okay, that's good. All right. From here, oh yeah, I'm rolling to the next for TV. This is just going to be a footnote because honestly, it's come on, like it's the leftovers. It's the leftover season 2. What we've already said everything. I like what else can we say? Oh, hold on. There's one thing I will say though. Do you know that meme where it's like someone up? Now there's like multiple memes, but whatever. There's a meme of like someone celebrating, and there's someone in the background like, yeah, I
Yes.
did something better than you, but like, I guess I'm not getting the attention. Um,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not going to say better, but like, imagine that meme. I need to find a proper template because I want to create it. The front piece is the Mad episodes, just like 3, 2, 1, and with the power of editing, this will be before everything. Hello, everyone. We're back in. Yeah, man, we're doing it up. We're doing it big. We're doing it hard. And then at the back is just like someone crying, like, the Lori episodes are good too. Like the Lori episode in season 2 is just like, oh my god, you guys really turned her around hard. Like
Yeah.
this woman becomes an all-time great part of the cast. She already was, but like, she was an antagonist. It's easy to say that she was an antagonist in season 1. So being able to see her just get that hard turn in season 2, I'm like, oh, this feels great. Oh my god. But oh man, I didn't even put a spoiler tag in it, did I? Did I count it down?
No, but
Fuck.
oh.
Okay, you know what? I'll edit one in, so I'm gonna say it right here. 3, 2, 1, and with the power of editing, this will be before everything. Hello, everyone. We're back in. Uh, Jesus Christ, that's gonna make no sense. Now this is gonna make no sense whenever I say whatever. You know what? I'm still gonna leave it as a mess like this because I think it's funnier this way.
I
But
agree.
yes, the leftovers, great, incredible. Anything that you wanted to say about the Lori
Well, I
episodes, or the
mean,
first two episodes, or anything? Oh, my, go for it.
I could talk about it for the next 2 hours. You know me about leftovers. It's my one of my favorite piece of media ever. The Lori episodes are great. Season two, I know we slightly differ on season two's excellence. I think season two's fucking perfect. There's not a beat I would change in season two personally. I think the Lori episodes are absolutely fantastic. There's just so much to love about that season. Just the way it starts is fucking insane, and then just the finish, like they managed to wrap it up on a really nice note, because honestly they didn't know if they were even going to get a season three. So
Mhm.
I'm sure glad they did, because I think season three is near perfect too. So
Mhm. For
yeah.
me, I think what it is that I just feel like season two so far, at least from watching it, season two just feels like it has like a slightly slower pacing than season one. Like you can definitely feels like okay, you can definitely feel that it feels like it's more TV than what season one is, where season one just feels like straight up an adaptation of the book, where they have what you would imagine would be really good symbolism and metaphors in a book, but when you hard translate them over to a TV show, it's like, wow, you lost a little bit in translation. So even though season one, I feel like tends to hit harder than some pieces in season two, I think what it is that season two is a little bit more consistent, even with that episode at the end, which International Assassin, which ooh, we both agree on that one. I think season two, for some reason, I think just falls slightly shorter for me than season three, because I think season three, by the sheer fact that it's 8 episodes, feels like it has to just have a ticking clock over its head. That I think that is what makes it click with me more, because it just feels like it accomplishes so much in a shorter span of time than season two, that I think at the end of the day, that's what makes it more impressive for me.
I mean, fair enough. Good reason.
All right, now then, yes, leftovers, goat out of 10.
Yes, that would be my rating too. My favorite piece of media ever.
Beautiful. All right. So I think that's all TV. Is it dork shit time?
Yeah, I think it's time for dorkship.
All right. I will toss it to you. You start wherever you like.
All right. Well, let's start with, I guess, the shit. I don't have a ton of stuff to say about,
Mhm.
and we're gonna go from there. So we'll talk about Life is Strange: True Colors first of
All right.
all.
Perfect. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. I really don't have much to say actually, because I've just started the game. I haven't played as much as I'd like to. After we're done this, I will be playing a lot more. I'm just into chapter two. I played a little bit of chapter two last night. I really enjoy it so far. It's beautiful. It's more Life is Strange. I've already teared up 3 times,
Of course
cried
you have.
once.
Of course you have.
The the field trips are back. I'm already way more invested in this game than I was ever with Life is Strange 2, so I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to playing the rest of it. It's been a great experience so far, and we'll see if it holds up throughout the whole game.
All right. So my history with Life is Strange is that with the original game, I remember trying it, and I remember just thinking, this is charmingly bad. Like, yeah, sure, I can get through this. And I grabbed my wife and we just sat down and we played it. And it was just every single time it's like, oh, that's just a little bit of cringe. And then every single time that we played it and there was a decision, one of my favorite things is that it kind of fixed most of the issues that I had with these games, which is the rewind mechanic. And you could see, like, oh man, I want to see both options, but you got to make a choice now. So I actually do like, if I want to say something nice, I do like that they introduced that mechanic, and I do love that every single time that you rewind, it's like, wow, both of these situations suck. Um, okay, which horrible person do I want to be? Do I want to be a horrible person, this person, or that person? And it's just comedic actually for a little bit. It was hilarious to both. Of It's like, man, we're just horrible people regardless. Sure, why not? So that was what kind of did it for us. Before the storm, being part of the writers' strike just kind of lost that charm, and it just felt like, oh, this is a slog. I hate the mechanic that they introduced, where I hate the talkback mechanic. I hate it. I like my time travel. I prefer that. And any single time that I would do the talkback mechanic and I failed, I was like, well, I'm not going to play this, right? So I'd always restart, because like, I don't, there's no incentive for me to fail this and keep moving. At least with the time mechanic, like I could rewind and go, yeah, you know what? I have to choose one of these, and regardless, it's going to be horrible. So sure, why not? The talkback mechanic was like, oh, this. I have no point. I don't want to deal with this more than I have to. So, oh crap, I failed. Restarting and doing it again. So I mean, Life is Strange too. I want to laugh. I want to laugh so badly. So Eventually, whenever it hits $5, like before the storm did, sure, I'll try it. And with this one, I swear, every single time that you post the gif of the girl, like, I'm feeling emotions, it's something in me clicks where it's like, I want to choke this girl out. I don't want to see her face. It feels like you have. I'm gonna repeat myself. It's like a seventh grader. Oh, you son of a bitch! You said it again, didn't you? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna turn over here. Yes, you sent it again. I swear, every single time that I see her face, it looks like you told a child, "Now get angry," and the kid just goes like way too hard, like, "Ah!" Okay, I need you to look sad. Oh, I'm sad. I fucking hate it. I hate the final shot too because it looks way too fucking superhero. It looks, "Wah-wah, I can make you feel emotions." I fucking hate it. I also it. All right, we're gonna get offensive. I'm probably gonna get canceled for this one. It makes me think like the main character's autistic or something. Like it makes me think that maybe she can't read social cues, so her superpower is that she can finally read social cues. Like, oh my god, this person bawling their eyes out and about to jump off a bridge. I think I'm gonna use my power. Ooh, 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 oh, they're sad. Oh my god, there's no way I would have ever been able to tell that they were sad. Like it feels like the main character's not a not a superpower. It's just someone that is missing something and they finally got it back. Like Jesus, I keep looking at the GIF. I need to click away. I fucking hate the GIF. I hate it so much. So yeah,
Yeah.
True Colors is something that I'll laugh at the Mexican kids trying to cross the border first, and then I'll think if I want to play the Asian girl that doesn't know how to read social cues.
Yeah, I also I guess I should backtrack a bit too. Life is Strange, the first one, is actually one of my favorite games. One of my favorite narrative-driven games of all time.
I
Uh,
really chose you as a co-host.
I know, right? Shocking. Um, I adore that game so much. There's so much I love about that game. I tell the story a bit, but when I get to the final choice, if I are we in spoilers right now or no?
Count it down.
Okay, three, two, one. Life is Strange. One spoilers. 1-0. When you get to the final choice of Bay versus Bay, um,
Coochie or everyone dies.
I literally had to. I was so torn up. I had to quit the game. I could not make a decision at that moment. That was the tough, one of the toughest decisions I've ever made in a video game because I cared about those goddamn characters so much, and they had me hook, line, and sinker. But that entire thing that I literally could not sit there and make that decision at that time. So I really love the first game. Is very very special to me. I think it's a fantastic game. It's not perfect. It has its flaws, but like it's a really great game for me. So I was really hoping for a return to form with True Colors, and so far this has been it. So
Dude,
so
my
far,
wife and I were whores, all right? Every single person, it's like, yeah, we're gonna kiss you. Yeah, we're gonna kiss you. All right, we're gonna choose Coochie and we're gonna let everyone die. Like, there was no hesitation. We're like, dude, we don't really care about these people. At least Max can have love. We're just gonna kill everyone now. And like,
yeah.
I know that's not the canon ending because, look, obviously it's not the canon ending. It literally is just animation. They get into a truck and they drive away. And the other one is like, oh yeah, we're gonna have extra voice acting and we're gonna have sad music. It's like bullshit. You're telling me that there's no canon ending. Bullshit. Obviously, the one that you guys put more effort into is the canon ending. Coochie is not the canon ending. Save the Town is canon ending. So it was fucking hilarious. Like we already didn't care about this game, so getting to the ending is like town Coochie. Town. Coochie. You know what? We're gonna go for goth girlfriend. Sorry guys, just gonna let the town get destroyed. And when it ended, we were like, man, that was stupid. And then when we look at the other ending, we're like, oh, I mean, yeah, sure, I guess, but like, at least Max has Coochie now, so we're all good.
Well, and the
Which
funny thing is too, even if you pick the Bay ending and you made like the Save the Town ending, and you made the right you saved the right you made the right choices, you get your first kiss with Chloe too at that point. So nice.
Oh, yeah, no, no, we were a whore. We kissed every single time that we had a chance to flirt with someone. We're like, yeah, we're gonna flirt with them. Like at this point, I'm pretty sure it's just a bad thing that, like, even Persona 5, like we haremed it whenever I played it with her. Like it was just like, at this point, I assume that if we're playing a video game together, we're just gonna fuck anything that walks. Like,
Yeah,
that's my assumption.
I mean that's fair. That's your it's self-insert, baby.
No, that's no, that we're not swingers though. That's the thing. We are two people playing as one character, and we're not swingers. It's self-insert is like, yeah, we're just gonna fuck everything here in real life and in video games. Like, no, it's just in video games. It's like, well, we kind of don't want to exactly play this again to see the other ending, so we're just gonna get all the endings. I
uh,
fucking hate this game.
I think I
Well, okay,
actually
I'm not gonna say I hate it. I'm just gonna say it's not something that I can say is good. It's just something that is just. It's like watching Scott's Tots over 10 hours.
yeah, that's fair. I think I will say this. I think from an ironic cringe standpoint, you'll have a lot of fun with Life is Strange too. So
I not with that gift though. Like, it's starting to ruin it for me. Where I feel like I'm already cringing to points where I don't like this.
no, Life is Strange 2, not True Colors. 2.
Oh, two.
2.
Okay,
2,
no,
not True
two.
Colors.
On the other hand,
Yeah, two. I think you're gonna have fun with because it's pretty ridiculous.
I can't wait until I have a kid just immediately look at the camera. It's like, Trump is ruining this country. I need you to vote for Joe Biden in 2 years. I'm like, bro, it's 2021, but okay, yeah, cool. Thanks for lecturing me. Like, I can't wait.
There's a
Well,
literal
actually, I can.
there's a literal part of the game where you have to go past the wall. That's all I'll say.
QTE the jumping the wall.
That's all I will say.
Oh my god, I can't wait until I do a stealth section to get into America. I fucking hate this so much. Are we good on Life is Strange? Am I released from Immortal Coil?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk more about it, but when I beat it, so we're good for now.
Fair enough. Okay. Life is Strange is a hella out of 10.
Yeah, we'll see when I finish. But first one's an 8 out of 10. Second was a 6 out of 10.
Okay, fair enough. All right. You know what? I'm gonna torture you next.
Okay.
A Way Out.
All right, have fun. I'm going to the bathroom.
Man. Okay, perfect. A Way Out is actually really good. The opening was kind of weak. You're just kind of going like, okay, why are we doing this? This is just Shawshank Redemption ripped off and two controllers attached to it. Why am I doing this? It's a whole bunch of mini games, at least it feels like at the beginning, where it's like, okay, now you must do something, and now the other person must do something. Almost like there's a sequence of buttons that someone needs to press to continue the story. And honestly, you just keep going, and eventually you just buy into it. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess it's just this is something that you don't really need to pay too much attention to. It's just two people that are going to bond together, play something, and be able to shoot the shit while you're going. And then eventually the game goes, okay, now we're just going to keep swapping across genres. Now we're going to have a brawling section. Now we're going to have a running section, or we're going to have a chase sequence. We're going to have a third person shooter sequence. And further on, eventually, oh, so I guess I should mention this. I was playing this with my wife, so very casual. Very casual. So by the time we got to the third person section and the driving section, it's like, oh, this is really trying her on skills that would come natural to us horrendous gamers, but her as an educated human being probably is not going to work for her. So that's the main knock I can give it, is that at some point it stops being casual and it becomes something that's like, no, you kind of need to know video games a little bit to get through this. So I am still happy with the game, but the way it eventually shows its hand into going a little bit too video gamey is something that I want to hold it against it as a knock, but not really, more of just like a warning of anyone were to play it. But even with that being said, I still feel like this game is very good. And considering that early on it was something that I didn't think was something that I needed to care about while I was playing, eventually the game has a turn where you're like, oh, I didn't realize I cared this whole time. So when the game asks you, well, do you care? I answered, yes, actually, I do care. So that final turn in A Way Out is something that pushes it to a final point where I'm like, that is actually good. I thought this was just going to be pulp stupidity for two people to hang out, shoot the shit while doing something. But no, eventually the game turns and it's like, no, but we're going to go a little bit more serious. And it's not going to be weird because, like, I don't even know how they did it, because it feels like so much of it is pulp, but they just gradually descend you into like, No, no, no. You're actually doing things right now. So whenever they have that final turn where you're like, oh shit, we've been trying to make it serious this whole time, it was something that was greatly appreciated. And I'm very happy that I played with it through with my wife, because I know that the ending is something that we will still be talking about for years to come, because it's something that definitely both of us like, oh shit, oh, we didn't realize we cared. I didn't realize it. And then she cared too. And it's like, oh man, okay, you know what? This is effective if we're both on board. And the actual ending as well, we're going to meme to each other for years to come as well. Dorian, talk to me about how much you hate Yosef Fares.
Yosef Fares is an interesting man who I don't like.
God. He's God.
Yeah, he's God, all right.
You're an atheist.
Yeah, God, obviously.
Why don't you believe in God, huh?
Well, let me put it this way. While you were talking about that entire thing, I was looking at steelbooks, and the steelbooks that I was looking at was far more interesting than that.
You
Look,
son of a bitch, I was looking at the perfect steelbook while you were talking about Life is Strange, okay? All right? There's a booklet in here. Apparently, it's about Satoshi Kon, okay?
yeah.
And we're
So
just going to
look,
start attacking each other, damn it.
look, Way Out might be a good game, but it's got things working against it for me. Let's start at the top. First of all, I don't like co-op games. Now, I think co-op games are perfectly acceptable for fun times. I'm going to be talking about Halo 5 in a bit, unfortunately. I played that co-op, and it made the game bearable. And I think that's where co-op's best instances come in. I do not think games should be primarily co-op only. That's just me. On top of that, I don't like guys who are jackasses, even though I'm one myself. And I have a problem with some of the problematic things that Mr. Fares has said in the games
Mr.
media
Fares,
industry.
he's on trial right now.
So suffice to say, A Way Out's not for me. Fares games are not for me. I will never play one. I will never touch one. GG.
You see, there was something that I was remembering that I didn't want to pull, and I won't, just as a fair warning, I'm not going to. I remember one of the first few times that I sent you a package, either 13 Sentinels or one of the Steelbooks after.
Right.
I remember that you gave me a golden ticket. I'm not going to use it for this. I'm not going to. It's just that I remembered.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And if you wanted to use it on that, I suppose you could. But you were going
Actually,
to.
I wouldn't. I would have used Brothers, but like I'm not going to do that.
You're
I'm
just.
not going to.
I mean, here's the thing about the golden ticket. You should use the golden ticket for something that I just don't really want to play at that time, but I'll play. I could play fucking Brothers or whatever you want, but you're going to get a spite play and you're going to get a fucking spite review. So
You see, but that also would be something I like, because
I mean, fair.
you know how I am. Like, look, even when people are like, "Yeah, I didn't like Nier Automata," I'm like, "Well, you played it at least," and that's something that I'm happy about. So,
That's true. I mean, unfortunately I own Brothers, so.
oh wait, I forgot. Did someone gift it to you?
No, I had it. There was a humble bundle I bought ages ago before I knew what a problematic
Problematic.
before I knew what a problematic individual Fares was.
Problematic. Saying fuck the Oscars. Problematic. Yes, I know it's all about making Jeff uncomfortable. Whatever. Fuck the Oscars. Oscars suck, all right? Every single time that I look at them, like, you are good in an argument when I need you. But besides that, you are making the dumbest decisions where all you are is just lobbying power to be like, hey, can I have Best Picture Oscar on my Blu-ray so it sells a little bit better?
Look, I'm with you. Fuck the Oscars. I actually agree at that point. So,
you know what? I'm gonna tie this to Trump. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna fucking that. Jesus Christ, no. That's a fucking rabbit hole that we're not getting out of. But yes, A Way Out. It's very good, and I hope it hurts your soul to hear that.
Is that your review out of 10? I hope it hurts your soul to hear that out of 10.
Now it is.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's fantastic.
Out of 10. Out of 10.
Oh, man. I've never played the game, so I give it a 1 out of 10.
Motherfucker. Moving on. Go for the next one before I.
Okay, so
this one. There's a Whiplash Steelbook here. I'm gonna destroy it. Okay, it's not getting sent to you.
You cannot destroy Kino. You can't destroy Kino like that. It's not fair. At least donate it. Don't destroy it.
I'm okay. Step on it right now. Go for it.
Let's talk about Devil May Cry 2. I don't really have a ton to say about this game either. It was good. I definitely can understand. So this is the black sheep of the Devil May Cry family. If you ask anyone, I have not met one person that said, "Oh man, Devil May Cry 2 is a good game or a great game," or they really like it, or it's their favorite in the series. Every single person I have met has this game at the bottom of the series, and they fucking hate it. I actually didn't hate it that much. Like,
of course you didn't.
No, Spoiler, I give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's a good game, but it's certainly not as good as the first game. It's definitely weaker. There's basically there's a whole Dante part, and then if you finish the Dante part, you can kind of see the alternate side of the story. I forget the girl's name, but after I finished the Dante part, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I think if I do the second part and kind of play the same thing again, just from a different perspective, I'm gonna fucking hate this game probably by the end of it. So we're gonna stop here and call it a day. So, like, I think it was good. Problem is, it's just not as memorable as the first one in a lot of ways. Like, I didn't get any of those cheesy lines. There's barely any. There's even less story in the second somehow than the first one.
So less
Just
cringe dialogue.
less cringe dialogue, which is a huge issue.
Oh, weakness.
I agree. And it just, yeah, man, like it was fine. It's something I'll never revisit again. And I don't think I really don't think it was as abysmal as people were saying about. And like I said, there's another game I'm going to talk about in a bit here that people said is really fucking bad, and that one lived up to the hype for me. This one, though, honestly, not so much. It's good, but it's forgettable. So for everyone who's ever once says Devil May Cry 3 is the best in the series for the most part, and then even 3, 4, and 5 are all really good games. So I'm excited to play those in the future. I've got a lot on my plate now, so I don't know when I'll get to them, but yeah, excited for the rest of the games.
Perfect. All right. So I have nothing else to add about
Yep.
Devil May Cry. Are you ready to go to scores?
No, we can go. I'm going to go 6 out of 10 on that. Good game, but definitely the weakest in the series so far.
Okay. I'm going to make my score. There is no. The darkness of night falls around my soul, and the hunter within loses control. Gotta let it out. Gotta let it out. Out of 10. All right. No Devil Trigger. Out of 10. Complete loss for me. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Can't wait to listen to that song and play that game.
God, oh my God. The other day I was listening to Devil Trigger while I was working. Like, yeah, oh my God. I want to play it again. I'm like, wait, no, I don't. I just want to listen to this song again. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm just going to keep listening to it instead. So, yeah, we'll just knock it out right now. Final Fantasy IV, it's on the list. I played it a little bit more. My opinions haven't changed. I finally figured out how to play it properly. I have no different opinions. We can move on from here. That's it. It's just a footnote. So
right, fair
back
enough.
to you. Yeah, it's literally that small. Like, I don't even feel like I want to delve more into it. Whatever I said previously, all that again.
Oh my God. Okay, so I've got. All right, so obviously we'll say Resident Evil for N because we got those two.
Yes,
but
correct.
I've got positive and negative. Where should we go first?
Oh, you know I love my negativity.
Okay, so let's talk about Halo 5 Guardians.
Oh, the classic. The only game that Xbox has ever put out. Their only exclusive.
So I've talked to you about this before, Ed, but I'm sure I don't know if I've talked about it to the general audience here. I take notes for every episode, and I have a few bullet points that I want to like go over and talk about for each topic. Halo 5, it just says holy fuck.
No, okay, no. Here's okay. I'm laughing because in my head, whenever like someone types in like the devil speak, I guess, like wherever the words are overlapping each other. I like to imagine that that's just what your notes were for Halo.
Yeah, if I could have done devil, or if I thought to do devil speak, I would have, because my God, this game is awful, and it is so irredeemably trash in every single aspect. So, background. I've been playing all the Halo games to get to Infinite. Everyone has told me 5 is awful, to skip 5. I have refused because I've got to play the entire story. So, a lovely man in the Discord by the name of Herb, Crazy Herb, shout out to the Wasp.
He has videos on YouTube. If you need a Halo expert, he's one.
Yes, very good videos. Definitely check him out. He's fantastic. He volunteered to, and I say volunteer because it's a fucking volunteer job. He volunteered.
He got drafted. Okay,
he got
people
drafted.
actually want to volunteer. He drafted
to play Halo 5 with me in co-op. We also had another guy from the Discord named Alex. He joined us as well. And holy fuck, man, this game is so bad. From the very opening cutscene that reminds you more of a Power Rangers Marvel crossover than it does a fucking Halo game. All the way to the worst choreographed and worst cutscene I maybe have ever seen in a video game of a silent fight between Master Chief and some random guy that I'm supposed to fucking care about, who I don't.
Silent. I need to go deeper in there. Define silent.
There's so little audio for some reason in this fight. Like, I don't understand. Like,
so not even sound effects.
There's some, but it's just all muted. Like, you would think this is a big moment, an epic fight, but the audio of that does not match that moment at all. It's crazy. And by the way, this guy, you play as him as 85% of the game. Like, no
wait, hold on, what?
Yeah, oh yeah. In Halo 5 Guardians, you play as Master Chief for 3 missions. That's it. Like, there's 12 missions in the game. 3 of them you play as Master Chief. 3.
You see, I saw you guys talk about Halo 5, right? And I wanted to say something snarky. Like, I want to throw out, like, oh man, you don't get to play as Master Chief. And, just as a joke, just to fuck around, not even seriously. I was like, oh, you mean like Halo 2? I didn't realize it was 85%. Jesus Christ. Like, at
No,
least
it's
Halo 2 alternates.
it alternates exactly. That's the thing, right? And the thing is, the guy who wrote this, by the way, he wrote Marvel shit's comics, so shocking. The guy who wrote this, he legitimately they thought that this new guy, I don't even know what his name is, and I'm not going to look it up because I'm not going to give him the fucking respect to look up what the
Somehow
character's name
wait,
is.
wait. Oh, wait, no. I actually. Oh, okay. No, no. You were talking the character. I
The
was about to
character,
say,
yeah, I don't care. I don't care about the fucking writer either. But I'm
somehow
specific.
I know the name. I know the name of the character. That's bad.
Yeah, I don't fucking know what it is, and I don't care. That fucking guy, they thought he was going to be a big star somehow. Like this was going to be the next big star of Halo, and he's so boring and generic. Like I don't care. And it's just they took the beautiful ending of 4, which I'm not going to spoil because you haven't gotten there yet. But they took
No.
the
No, no. Okay. Halo 4. I guess. Look. Skip forward 10 seconds. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I know Cortana dies. Okay. All right.
okay.
Now let's just let it roll for a little bit. Couple of seconds. That seems like enough 10 seconds. So have at it.
Okay, so they took the fucking oh my god, I just saw the devil text. That's great. I'm gonna add that into my doc after. Um,
By the way, okay, a clarification so I don't have to do an editor's note later. I looked up the glitch text. Like, that's apparently what it's called. I looked up glitch text. I type in holy fuck, and I sent Dorian a screenshot of what holy fuck would look like in glitch text.
Beautiful. It's exactly how I feel playing Halo 5. Fuck, what was I saying now?
Imagine something that they took about the ending for 4.
Right. So the ending of 4, they took that, which I thought was actually really beautiful and a nice way to end it, and they for some reason they just retcon it and destroy it. Like it's like the Halo 5 was like, "Hey, let's take everything we did in Halo 4 and completely piss on it and make it 10 times worse." And that's why I hate this game so much because not only is it a bad game, but by retrospect it actually makes Halo 4 a worse game. And I don't understand for 1 second what anybody who was working on this game was thinking. By the way, the gameplay itself, the gunplay, kind of fun, but if you're playing on heroic, you have to play back and duck behind cover. So if you want to get the
Nah,
sword,
nah.
not allowed, because you will get killed in 2 seconds if you try to use that fucking thing. There was so many times in that game where I saw a sword, I'm like, oh man, it'd be fun if I could pick that up and use it, but I will just die. So there is no point.
Yeah, you know what? Halo 5 is immediately on my shit list already for taking the sword away because the sword is one of the few things that I love in this world. The sword might be one of my favorite weapons in the game, and you're telling me that they fuck with that? Nah,
Oh my
nah.
god.
Do you see? I'm very glad that I don't respect 343 because the fact that I don't respect them means that if 343 was like, well, yeah, you should play these games on heroic, I can just kind of laugh at the go, you're not Bungie, fuck you. This is going to be an easy playthrough. Like, I do not believe them at all.
Do not play through this game on heroic because it's not worth it in my opinion. And like I gotta say, the best part about this game by far, was here's how a typical play session of Halo 5 would go when I played it. I played it over one night, by the way, because I was like, look, if I don't get this shit done, I'm never coming back to it. So I'm finishing it tonight.
Smart move.
But I here's how it would go. So it would be me, Herb, and Alex playing. Me and Herb would start spitting out some random Halo facts and like get really deep into lore and be like, okay, this is good. I would die. Shortly after he would die. Then he'd be like, oh fuck, I forgot how bad this game is and I can't do that. Hey Alex, survive for us. Then he would start telling me more Halo lore while Alex ran around his ass and saved us. This was the best part of the game, bar none, was the parts where I did not have to play it and I was dead and I was getting to learn some good Halo information from good Halo games.
You basically backseated your own play session of Halo 5. Fucking legendary.
My God, it was horrible. I cannot tell you how bad of an experience and how terrible of a game that is. So, yeah, it is horrendous. It is by far the worst game I've played this year, and I played Days Gone this year, so it is the worst game. At least Days Gone just pisses on itself. This game actively pisses on the legacy of games that came before it. It's terrible. I don't care that it's shorter than Days Gone. It felt fucking longer. It's horrible. Yeah, fuck Fuck that game. Oh my
I
god.
cannot wait to eventually play this game and then just be angry the entire time and just think, why do you exist? Why?
I mean, that's like, if this game made me think, why are they even making any more Halo? Now, Infinite looks good. And I'm really hopeful that Infinite's gonna right the ship. But that's how bad Halo 5 was, to the point where I was like, man, I don't even know if I would want another Halo game after this, because you're gonna fucking ruin the legacy of this franchise. Halo 1 through ODST are all fucking great games, and I even liked 4. But fucking this game is so bad that it just makes me say, I don't know if I want anymore. And if Infinite is even half as bad as this game, then they should just fucking hang it up. Like, holy shit, it was bad.
So, as we can all agree, hang Xbox for their video games. Done.
Yeah, exactly.
Halo 5, I'm going to go ahead and give that a you fucked up the sword. How do you even do that out of 10?
Oh man, so random note here. There's a giant hunting knife near my desk here, and I
Oh,
just
oh, oh.
noticed the bottom of it actually has a compass built into it. That's really cool. I
Ooh,
somehow
ooh,
did
ooh.
not notice that.
Does it point to true north of where we need to destroy 343?
Yes, let's go. We hunted
Oh,
dawn.
perfect.
This
Okay.
game is a 4.5 out of 10. And the only reason it's really not lower is generally anything 4 or above for me is playable. If once I go lower than 4, games are just broken at that point and there's something wrong with it. This game's not broken. I didn't have any glitches. It played, but it's fucking awful. So 4.5 out of 10.
I'm going to add a second score. The second score is a compass under a knife is probably a better use of a sword than Halo 5 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Let's go ahead and just save Resident Evil at the end. So
Yeah.
whatever your next one is, just fill them all in, and then Resident Evil will be how we end it.
Yeah, I've only got one more before Resident Evil. So,
Go for it.
and this one's a little more positive, thankfully. So, Phoenix Wright, Trials and
Disgusting.
Tribulations. This is the
You know
third.
we hate positivity here.
I know I hate positive, but I got when there's credit to give, there's credit to give. This is the
Disgusting.
third game in the Phoenix Wright series. I thought it was so. This is the original trilogy. I thought this was it, but I was corrected by a mega weeb on the Weeb Discord from Straw Hat. um, His name was Connor, I believe. He told me that there actually 4, 5, and 6 are part of this saga as well. So there are 3 extra, but they're only available on DS. So who the fuck knows when I'm going to get to play them? But
You won't.
probably not until they port it to a main console, which I think they will eventually, because Capcom has been moving these games over. You can
I
also
was
play it
scared. I
on.
thought you were about to say a real console, and I was like, "Dude, are you insulting the DS? Like, this is a new low."
No, I know. I don't have access to get a DS, so I can't play it.
Okay, fair enough.
Apparently they're on mobile too, but
Okay, you see, that's where we insult it.
yes, that ain't happening. Anyway, so this third game. I started off with this game. It's funny. So I started off. I was about an hour into it. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm feeling this. I was watching Evangelion in the background, which, by the way, I watched a couple more episodes of that. I didn't even include it. Fuck that show. I'll just
Yeah,
mention
don't
that now.
include it. Like, it's not gonna be.
I need to watch more, though.
Honestly, just cut it out until we
I am
finally get
until
to
I
like
get to
the
the
end
point.
of the series
Yeah.
and end of Ava.
So, but yeah, anyways, so I actually watched a couple episodes while playing this, because I really wasn't feeling the game or the show, and then it just kind of turned for me. I finished a game we'll talk about in a minute, Resident Evil HD remake. My laptop was broken, which is back now in safe hands. And I hadn't, so I really didn't have much to do. I was waiting for Life is Strange True Color, so I just went full hard on this game. And oh my god, it's fantastic. It is the best Phoenix Wright game of the trilogy. It is a absolutely, like, one of my favorite visual novels of all time. They just managed to tie this game up in such a great way. Here's the interesting thing: my least favorite Phoenix Wright game is the first game. I gave that game a 6.5 out of 10. I still think it's
That's
good,
usually a good sign.
but it's the least favorite. But this game actually goes and ties back into the first game and fixes a lot of my issues with it. Like, it
Mm.
all wraps around in such a satisfying and a really nice conclusion to it. And I didn't expect that. Like, they're usually pretty standalone. Like, there's usually an overarching theme throughout the entire game that kind of ties itself around. But the fact that they went all the way back to the first game, I wasn't expecting that. And man, like, it was just really well done. What else do I have on here? Godot. I don't know how to fucking say his name. He's the main prosecutor in the third game. He's an enigma. One of my boys, shout out Straw Hat, one of his favorite characters in the series. I loved him. He's great. He downed 17 cups of coffee every trial and has got the best theme song I have heard in a long time in a video game. His theme song, every time I see coffee now, I am going to hear his fucking theme song in my head. So thank you for that, Capcom. Which to segue, the music in this game is an unexpected surprise. Like the first two games were good, but I didn't really think about them. There's some songs and some music in this game that's actually incredibly well done. So I was really impressed with that. Yeah, man. Like this is like, is it on the level of like my favorite Danganronpa, which is my favorite visual novel of all time? No, but this game on its own is really fucking fantastic. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Because you tied it in, that's a question I do have. If for some reason Danganronpa is a complete miss for me, is there any reason to go to Phoenix Wright?
It would depend on the reason.
Okay.
If Danganronpa is a miss for you because it's too fucking weeb, then but you like other things about it, but it's just I can't get over the weeb aspect,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, I would actually recommend Phoenix Wright just because it's really not weeb. Like, and I say
Okay.
that, but like there's really not a lot of weeb elements in this game at all. It's kind of the thing again where they're trying to play it off as American. So it's kind of got that Parasite Eve thing more than anything.
Oh, the
Um,
little pandering.
exactly. It's a little bit of pandering to America.
Beautiful.
If you just don't like Danganronpa because you don't like the visual novel, the style of that game, then I'd say hell no. But if it's literally only because, oh man, this is too weeb, I cannot handle this weeb, but I kind of like the idea of the trials and stuff like that, then honestly, yeah, it's a place where you could go with it. It starts off slow. Like I said, the first game is my least favorite game in the series, but man, it picks up after that. And the way they tie it all together, beautiful. Really well done.
I have nothing to add besides anything that I said. Of course, I'm pretty sure I have it on 3DS, and I will figure out when to play it. But also, my 3DS has almost died 2 or 3 times because I just disconnected after it's done charging, and I'm just saved somewhere in Majora's Mask. I don't. Well, I'm just temporary state saved somewhere, not actually saved. So my 3DS just stays on until I finally go back to beat Majora's Mask. Yeah, eventually. Eventually.
One of these days, eh?
Exactly. So yeah, that eventually out of 10.
Yeah. 8.5 out of 10 for me. I really love that game. I liked it so much that, and I mean, we're talking about a good year. There's some good games in the year 2004 when it came out.
Mm.
As of right now, I have this as my third favorite game of 2004. So
Oh shit.
behind Halo 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, I think it is in 2004, I believe. So yeah.
Hold on. Knock out the order. Knock out the order there.
Okay. So how it is, it's Metal Gear Solid 3, number one,
Good.
Halo 2, number two.
Hell yeah.
Number three is now Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations.
I have
Uh,
nothing to add.
Number four is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Ooh, okay.
And number five is Half-Life 2.
Understandable.
So
Okay. Yeah, that is good. All right. Oh yeah. So we already got scores out of the way. Is it time for the Resident Evil block?
it's Resident Evil time.
Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and try and keep this to 20 minutes for all 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, you got Code Veronica in there too. I haven't started that right yet.
Okay, I will knock out Code Veronica first then. Or
Yeah,
no,
go ahead.
no, this is not it. This is the worst feeling one. Oh my god! At least 0 and 1 figured out a way to map the joystick to basically be run. So the only thing you're losing out there is that you kind of miss the fine tuning that's needed to pick up items off the ground. Code Veronica, Jesus, I forgot. I forgot what real tank controls feel like. Like it is just move forward, slightly touch the D-pad to move slightly, but since you're running, you overcorrect so hard and you accidentally run into a zombie instead. Oh my god, I am so tired of this kind of game already. Between back-to-backing 0 and 1 and now Code Veronica, I never want to play these games again. Herb, our fantastic Wasp friend who's on YouTube, the Halo expert, every time I hear him say that he hates Resident Evil, I just now, to make myself feel better, make myself think that he's talking about Resident Evil 0, 1, and Code Veronica, because this game is not it. Even just all the puzzles for this, like, it's getting tired now. Like, this feels like so much. If you like it, this shit is like comfort food for you. This feels like, oh man, there's another same game that I played last year. Hell yeah, I get to play it again. Playing these back to back has been burning me out towards these old games, because here's the thing: Resident Evil 1, when we talk about it, like, I played the original one on the director's cut on my PSP and I enjoyed it there and I was completely fine. So like, if something about me was fine with it then, and then now I'm playing this, I'm like, ugh. Part of me thinks that it's just that I like where Resident Evil went after. That just breaks these games for me. I can't. Just Code Veronica, I just want to stop already. By the way, I guess preamble for whenever we get to it. have you been using a walkthrough? What have you been doing here with these?
I have been using walkthroughs when I need them. And honestly, for Resident Evil Zero, I used it for most of the game. One, I was a bit more picky and choosy with it, but whenever I got stuck, I was like, okay, let's use one.
Okay, yeah, I've been walking through this entire time because I remember that whenever I played Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut on PSP, like I played that game for hours. Maybe not hundreds of hours, but definitely dozens of hours in a game that you can beat in 3 hours. I spent so much time in that game because I just did not look up walkthroughs. So I would have literal sessions where I'd be playing this game and I would just accomplish nothing. It would just be like, okay, I'm gonna go through this room. Okay, I'm gonna go through here. Like, just so much of all of that game was like, I'm gonna break through here. Oh, there's a puzzle here. I'll try and solve another puzzle. Like, it was what I assume people treated The Witness like is how I treated Resident Evil Director's Cut. And oh my god, like I do not think I would have been able to do that game without a walkthrough because there is such a specific manner of just domino effect for a whole
Yeah.
bunch of these solutions that walking through, considering that this month, well, I guess next month was supposed to be Resident Evil month, but considering, how long some of these games can take and how many games are doing them, we started it early. So considering all this, walkthrough was the right way. So I guess that should probably color how I'm looking at all this. But then again, I will admit I was positive on one, zero and Code Veronica are ones that I'm negative on. So focusing right now on Code Veronica, no. No, I don't even know if they went back and changed the controls a little bit, it would work. I do not like that this one is starting to have the Resident Evil 3 effect where they're like, yeah, we're going to go a little bit more actiony. And this is just not built for it at all. The fact that I feel like even if I didn't break the game, oh yeah, by the way, I broke the game. Like I did not want to deal with this. As soon as I started trying to handle the actual controls, that's the thing. 0 and 1, I did not break the games. I was like, you know what? This is going to be fine. The controls are okay. I'll figure it out. I can hold the shotgun up and decap when the zombies come close by. But this game, like, I was like, I don't even want to do that. I broke the game. I gave myself a rocket launcher. I'm like, this is how we're doing this. I don't want to deal with this game more than I have to. So between that and the walkthrough, this is not going good for me. This is not going good for me at all. So yeah, that's Code Veronica. Is there anything you want to say here? Or do you want to just save it for next time?
No, I'll save it for next time. I do want to mention though, because we didn't actually mention this. We are doing, like you kind of mentioned it quickly there, but for anyone who doesn't know, we are doing a Resident Evil marathon, and this is kind of the start of it. We were going to do it in Halloween. We got a bunch of games planned out, and yeah, so this is officially the start of it. So yeah,
But yes, I am doing games that I have not done. I think Dorian is too, but
same.
besides maybe two revisits, for me, I never played zero. I never finished one. 2 and 3, I play the remix. I want to just think of those games as that now, so I did not want to play the originals. Resident Evil 4, we both struck from the record, which makes me sad. 5 and 6, we're going to do together. We
Ugh.
both played 7 in VR, so we're good. 8, I haven't played yet. Code Veronica, I know that I didn't play it. You haven't played it in forever, or
I
you?
played it ages ago on the original Dreamcast, but it was a game I never finished. So
Okay, fair enough. Then yeah, so that's pretty much how this is being structured. I assume there won't be that many movies next month, except maybe the Saw movies, because I feel like I want to take that chance and finally knock those out.
fair enough.
So yeah, Code Veronica, take it as you will. If you want to do it now, go ahead, or if you want to hold it for later, up to you.
Yeah, no,
Because like I'm also like only an hour or two in, so.
yeah, so I'll save Code. I haven't touched it yet, so I'm finishing Life is Strange: True Colors, and then my next game will be Code Veronica. So I will have more to say on that soon.
Okay, fair enough. Then now with Code Veronica out of the way, the discussion becomes 0 and 1. I already gave. I guess I showed my hand already, so I hand it to you.
So yeah, we'll start with Zero then. Zero's good. I don't think it's great. It's definitely. Here's the thing: if somebody comes up to me as like Resident Evil Zero is a bad game, I will offer the minorest of defenses for it and be like, yeah, it hasn't aged really well. It is kind of classic survival horror, and that's cool, but it has issues. And that's like the best I'm going to do. But I will not, I'm not going to, stand on the hill and say that Resident Evil Zero is a great game. It's not. It gave me a lot of like kind of old survival horror nostalgia rushes, and I appreciated it for that. I think the opening segment on the train was pretty cool. It's my favorite part of the
Yes.
game. It was really cool to kind of enjoy myself and get back immersed into that world. But the game has some issues. Like the inventory is comically low in this game.
Oh.
Like comically low. Like at least even in Resident Evil 1, you had a couple extra slots. Now this one you do have two characters, but you're constantly juggling items back and forth between them, and there's no item boxes. So because there's no item boxes, you basically just have to pick a room, dump all your shit on there, remember where you'd put it, and then just kind of come back when you need shit. And that's why I kind of fell on a walkthrough more for this one, is because I was like, okay, what do I need, right? Because at least with one you have the item boxes, so you could always have access to your items whenever you needed them. But yeah.
All I know is that Resident Evil Zero at the beginning, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of vibing with this tone. This feels like very classic Resident Evil. You got the cutscenes that are cheesy, but then you've got, it trying to actually be scary in game. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm kind of vibing with this. I was doing the train section. I was like, okay, we got Billy being a fucking mid 2000s action hero and dashing into the air and shooting out these little tiny microscopic things with a handgun. Yeah, sure, you know what? I'm vibing with this. And then it cuts over to the building or the house, mansion, whatever. It cuts into the mansion. And as soon as I got to the mansion, I was like, oh no, how long is this game? And as soon as I got in there and I started looking up the walkthrough I was using, it was like, you are 2 out of 7. I was like, no. Oh, I don't want to do this. Like at least from what I've realized between 0 and 1, because at this point I'm pretty sure this conversation is going to get really mixed. Between 0 and 1, the more time you spend in one spot, the happier I am. I am much more happy with the Spencer Mansion than I am the fact that Resident Evil Zero just keeps swapping places. The train is cool, honestly. Spend the entire game in the train. It doesn't fucking matter. It already doesn't matter that for some reason this gem opens up the box that a doctor has on the train. It doesn't fucking matter. Whatever. Get ridiculous with it. Make me go underground and second decker on the train. Go ridiculous. Who cares? Just keep me there. But the fact that they're like, okay, now here's a mansion, here's an underground base. Like, I was like, I don't care. Each place you get to just gets worse. And I think honestly, the only game you're gonna hate this. I think the only game where they go into a new location and I don't think it's worse is probably Resident Evil 4,
Blah.
because like Resident Evil 7, even when it gets out of the house and it goes into different places, I'm still like, but could we have stayed in the house? Like, that's fine. Like, Resident Evil 7, I remember the house, and then we go into, I don't like, catacombs, and I don't remember anything outside of the fact that it's catacombs. Oh, wait, the ship, I guess. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, the ship is fine, but still, like the catacombs that it ends there, it's like, man, that's not really what I care about. But Resident Evil Zero, every single time it got away from the train, I was like, I'm so tired. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I actually don't disagree. I think Resident Evil is best when it kind of focuses on one spot and kind of does it well. Although I will say, and you'll play it soon, but Resident Evil 8 kind of doesn't do that at all. The entire game takes place in different places, but it's very much in the style of Resident Evil 4. So I think you'll appreciate that. Uh,
However, the fact that it's also after 7, 7 was pretty good, except for the fact that just like I remember the house, um, I remember the house and I remember the ship. I just don't remember anything else. And considering that they at least gave me two places, makes you think that if Resident Evil 8 hops around, if you can just give me two main locations, I'll be fine.
yeah, I think you'll be fine with that then. I agree with you. Resident Evil Zero, like especially, it's funny too because I played Zero and One really close back to back. Like I think there was one game in between there, so there wasn't a lot in between there. It was a short one. But the more time I spent in Resident Evil 1, the less I liked Resident Evil 0, I guess is
Yeah.
the way to put it.
Yep.
Because it was definitely superior in most every way. It felt more polished. There was it just, I don't know, it somehow felt more modern, even though it was an older game. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, oh man. Speaking of Resident Evil 1, every single time I had to walk through the graveyard or
Yeah.
go into like one of the spots outside of the Spencer Mansion, I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to go into the basement. I don't want to go into like the scientist thing. Honestly, the only thing I think I liked was probably the sharks because that's just so ridiculous to me
It
that
was so
like
stupid.
it's so dumb, but it's like it's Resident Evil, so like it still works for me. But the fact that you go and do all this is like, man, I don't just send me back to the mansion. The mansion is so perfect. Like it is that mansion is everything that Resident Evil should be. Like, I'm not even going to talk about 2 or 3. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to deal with that, okay? Because in my mind, the remakes are pretty much the only thing now. But like the Spencer Mansion feels so Resident Evil to me that I just feel like that's peak. Also, just mentioning the remake, of course, because I played the director's cut a little bit on PSP years ago. Even that still had the right tone. I mean, it still was the cheese in the cutscenes and then the actual trying to be scary in game. Resident Evil 1, just the remake itself, I can't believe just how, I don't even want to say faithful because I don't even think I can speak that much about the original. Resident Evil 1 is just really good. I think that if I had the original take controls, I'd probably hate it a lot more, but the joystick, the way they mapped it, it still doesn't give you full control because the camera control still kind of screws you over. So it feels like a good compromise where you have a little more control, but the game itself still won't let it be too easy for you. So Resident Evil 1 as a remake, man, that's just great. Part of me almost wonders if they can do a second one a la Resident Evil 2 and 3, but
I think they
like
could,
if
but I don't know if
they
it's
could.
necessary.
Yeah, that's the thing. I still don't like it because while sure the original and the remake would still exist, I feel like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes have easily basically just rewrote history, and now those are the games that people should play now. That I don't know if I'd want that to happen for this remake.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what blows my mind though is going back to the original Resident Evil. This game, the original Resident Evil came out in 1996.
Mhm.
That game for its time was so impressive, like so fucking impressive, and it still holds up from, like obviously the tank controls don't, but the fact that they were able to remake that with control changes and stuff like that, but still keep most of it intact, it shows just how well it was made. I think it's such a classic game, and props to Shinji Mikami, man. Like that's just such a watermark game for me. It's the original Resident Evil. So
That game is so ridiculous to me because the actual design of the game, I have no idea. I'm just gonna maybe sound like a real dumbass here when I say this, but the actual design of the game, the puzzle box nature, the actual literal design of the Spencer Mansion, and how it leads into another room is just so good that me even playing it this far, this late, is still so good that even though I was using a walkthrough, which by the way, I fucked up this walkthrough. Like there were I did not know that if you open up the wrong doors, it will screw you up and you cannot get the optimum path.
oh
Like
yeah,
there
you
was
yeah you got
one
to be
time,
careful
yeah,
sometimes.
dude, I got 30 minutes in deep and I opened up the wrong door because I wasn't watching the walkthrough and it fucked me over where I couldn't get a berry cutscene later to trigger. Oh, by the way, we both played as Jill, right?
Yeah, we both played as Jill. Did you get
Okay.
the shotgun earlier, or did you fuck that up? Is
Yes.
that what you're talking about?
Yeah, no, dude, I restarted because when I realized that I didn't get the shotgun, I was like, I'm not, no, no,
Oh,
we're
that's
not doing
funny.
this.
Yeah,
So I restarted
I
once.
actually remember that from when I was younger. So I played through the original director's cut and beaten it, so I had a good idea. I was like, okay, I don't fuck up the shotgun because I know you could fuck that up really easily.
Dude, oh my god. When I saw that, I was like, okay, it's so weird because that is something that should probably piss me off, but there's something about it that I respect, and I do not understand why.
Well, it's cool because
I
it's not like you're locked out of the shotgun. You can get it later, but it's just if you do the right path, you get it early.
I think maybe that's what it is, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to spend more time with this than I have to. So I was like, can I just take the hit and restart? Yeah, then I will then. So I restarted. I didn't go through this door, and I let the walkthrough I was watching go like 10 seconds ahead of me every single time. I was like, I'm not doing this again. I'm really not. And here's the thing: are you a multiple saves person or a one save person?
Oh, multiple saves
Oh, okay, yeah.
for
You
these
see, I'm
for these type of games. For these type of games.
okay. Yeah, I am a single save type of person. So when I lost that and I didn't get the shotgun, I was like, fuck my save, it's done. So I did a two save system for this because like I can't risk losing this time again because if not I will not beat this game.
Yeah, for the
So
for the first Resident Evil, I think I ended up with like 7 different saves I was juggling.
dude, saving in this game, like I know that there's probably enough ink ribbons that you can save safely, but literally the fact that there's a number attached to it already makes you feel like, oh, fuck, is this worthwhile? Like, at least I
Uh,
was going with a walkthrough, so like I didn't really have to worry about that. But I even knowing that, I still felt like, oh my god, I don't know if this is worth it right now.
well, on easy mode, you're pretty good, but if you're playing it on like the regular mode, you do have to fucking be careful because you don't really get that many ink ribbons, so you can't fucking spend them all willy nilly.
Oh yeah, no, I was playing on the most baby ass baby mode possible because like I can't get bogged down on one of these. Like I can't. If I get bogged down with one of these, I'm gonna be talking about this same game for the next 2 months, and I can't do that. Dude, oh my, but remake, seriously. Eventually, I started learning the rhythm of the combat where you want to try to get decaps. Oh wait, actually, you know what? No, that's one direction. I don't think there's ever been more of an evil mechanic in a video game than the Crimson Heads.
Oh, it's funny. It's in my notes. I agree, though. I love it. And by the way, that wasn't in the original. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know
I
that or
know.
not.
I know.
But yeah, like I love that. Like it's so great. Like you like okay, burn these bodies, and they kind of don't tell you to do it. But I was looking at walkthrough. It's like, hey, you should probably burn these bodies. I was like, okay, but I didn't
Yeah,
for
these are
all of them.
thoroughfares that you need to clear out to be able to have the most optimum run.
Yeah, but there was sometimes where I didn't, and when they first popped up, it caught me off guard, man. I was like, "What the fuck? This
Ooh,
is like the fucking 28 days later zombie coming at me now." Motherfucker was tough.
it was so bad. The first one that pops up, I was like, no, 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 no. Like I was walking through the top part where it was the where the shield is. No, no, sorry. The literal first room you go into, the dining room.
Okay, yeah.
When I went through there, at the second floor, I was like, I'm walking through, and I just hear loud footsteps. And I was like, huh, that's weird. And then he comes off screen and starts scratching me. I'm like, no, 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 I haven't saved, I haven't saved.
Oh, this game is very scary still, man. It's got a good sense of dread to it.
That's what I'm impressed by. That it still felt like that's the thing. At least from the little bit that I played from Silent Hill 2, I was like, oh man, I just kind of like it when the game doesn't do like a hard note to let you know this is the time to be scared. The game just kind of goes, you're just going to be terrified by this because it's obviously terrifying. Like
Yeah,
we have designed everything around this to make this as uncomfortable for you as it possibly can.
yeah, absolutely.
So the shotgun itself, oh yeah, so wrapping back around, the shotgun itself, I knew that early because those decaps were going oh sorry, decapitations. Decaps, there we go. Those decaps are going to be necessary because I do not want to waste this inventory on the lighter. Like I do not want to waste the inventory on that. I don't want to waste inventory on the gas. I want to be able to carry as much ammo as I can because I need to decap these zombies as much as possible. How did you feel about the combat? Was it something that eventually you got into the rhythm? Because I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked I got into it eventually.
Yeah, I no, I think it was good. Like even for Resident Evil Zero, I didn't mind it so much either. I've always enjoyed the contact in these old Resident Evil games. Obviously, they're not nearly as refined as the two remake and the three remake were,
Oh yeah.
but they're still a lot of fun, man. And like you always got to be careful with your ammo and check your shots and things like that. You can't get too loosey with it. I played on easy, not the baby easy, but the easy mode. And I
Nah, the
had
babies. It was like we need to get through this.
yeah, yeah. And for the most part, I was usually pretty good with ammo. Shotgun was my weapon of choice for the most part,
Oh, of course.
and I usually had good amount throughout that. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Resident Evil Zero. I don't know what it was about it. I just felt like I was more annoyed with it. I think it's probably that there was just too many camera angles where there were things that were out of frame, and I think that at least for Resident Evil 1, the fact that you just spend so much time in one location, you can usually map it out in your brain where things are and where things might be coming from. That if you hear, you're like, okay, well, we're in the dining room. They can only be in so many spaces. Oh, okay, we're in a hallway. Okay, I know in my head there's probably a corner over there. So if I run over there, he might be there. Maybe I should proceed slowly. The fact that eventually that game has you learn the map as intimately as it does, it makes me okay with it there than in any other game. Resident Evil Zero, by the fact that it just hops too much, it just becomes like I'm not allowed to learn this place.
That makes sense. I understand that. I do agree with that. I think I yeah. No, that makes sense.
Since we're already talking about design, two characters in Resident Evil Zero. I, I hate that I feel like I like the idea, but I just don't feel like they use it that well. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, but it definitely didn't feel fully fleshed out. I hate to say it, but I felt like it's something that almost should have been co-op. I don't know about like the two people controlling them at the same time yourself. I don't know. If they brought it back in the future, it's something I'd be interested to try again. But it just, it was good. It just didn't quite hit like as hard as I think they could have done with it.
I just keep thinking that this could have been something. Like, I feel like you could have used puzzles where you have to split your brain and go, okay, I need to control this character, but I also need to control this other character at the same time and use the joysticks that way. And that sounds like a good idea, but also in my head, a Resident Evil game is already hard as it is to control. I don't know if I want to throw a second person on top of that because that feels like that start breaking your brain.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. It's not optimal because, especially these older survival horror ones are not exactly the best controlling games sometimes.
Yeah, no kidding about that. But pretty much when it comes to Resident Evil Zero, just no. I really okay. I looked up the timeline because I wanted to be sure. Resident Evil Zero is the last one in this style before they went over to Resident Evil 4. So, okay, I'm curious for you. Did you play it contemporarily or no?
Resident Evil Zero?
Yes.
No, no, this is my first time playing it.
Oh, okay. All right, shit. Then I guess we'll okay, you didn't finish Code Veronica. Would I be wrong in saying that by the time that Code Veronica rolled around, that might have been something that you were like, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore," or were you just still like, "Yeah, sure, more."
I remember enjoying it at the time, but I can understand because the thing is, you got to remember. Have you played the original Resident Evil 3?
Uh, no, I do know that that was the one that was supposed to be like a little bit more action oriented.
Right, because they gave basically Resident Evil 3 and Code Veronica were being made at the same time by two different teams, and a lot of
Oh,
people
I love the story behind that.
yeah, and a lot of people preferred Code Veronica because, 3 was a lot more actiony, and,
Mhm.
Code Veronica kinda stuck to its roots, so I never did finish Code Veronica, I did finish 3, so I guess
Wait,
maybe I did enjoy 3
oh,
more, but I do remember
you
thinking
didn't
it was a
touch
little
on
bit
it.
too actiony. What's that?
You didn't touch on it. Do you know what the story is between why Code Veronica? I get okay. Why Code Veronica was maybe received better than 3?
No, no.
Okay, so since Code Veronica was going to go and be an exclusive on Dreamcast, the developers at Capcom were like, yeah, no. Code Veronica would be Resident Evil 3, but it's going to be on the Dreamcast. Resident Evil is a PlayStation franchise. So even though Resident Evil 3, as we know it, would be more of a spin off title, Code Veronica is actually Resident Evil 3, while the real Resident Evil 3 should have gotten a subtitle
Oh,
as a spin-off.
that's so dumb, but that's fucking Capcom for you. That makes
Uh,
sense, though.
no, I like the idea because I just kind of like the idea. It's like, no, but we're putting on a console that most of the time it isn't on. Like, this is a spin-off title. Like, I kind of like the idea, but yes, the logicking is stupid.
Yeah, the logic is just stupid, but yeah, I
Like,
get it.
then again, we're talking about Resident Evil. Like, we're talking about like, oh, well, you
Oh,
need
yeah.
to go get this shield and swap it out at a different place, and it's gonna weight something down. And you're gonna get a little coin. The coin you need to put into a vending machine that might try to kill you, and then you get a gun, and then that's just one puzzle of 4,000.
Yeah, logic and Resident Evil don't always go the best together anyways, so
Yeah, no fucking kidding. But yeah, Resident Evil Zero. Uh, uh, I don't know, man. I just remember thinking like this feels like this is a moment where the wheels fell off and they needed to do something. While you disagree, while you disagree, I didn't realize this about myself that man, Resident Evil is not something that would have spoken to me except from 4 on. Like, I did not realize that until I finally got to Code Veronica. Even though I feel like I'm actually still positive of Resident Evil 1, I'm never playing that game again. I'm never not. That felt like homework to be like, "Oh, I wanna be a gamer. I need to be sure I know my history." Like, Resident Evil 1 feels like something I needed to scratch off to be like, "Yeah, no, I've done this. I feel like I can maybe talk about video games in a certain educated way." Yeah, sure, it's video games, but also like, shut up, I'm trying here.
I think you're bang on the head there. Like I'm very positive on Resident Evil 1 overall. The remake was really well done, so I was really happy with that. I still think Zero's okay. It's definitely not a great game, but it's still got some positives for me. So definitely, I think if you're a fan of survival horror in general, you should both give them a shot. Just see where the roots kind of came from because they're very important games for a lot of things that came after. So
Then yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I want to say about Zero or One. Code Veronica, Jesus, I'm just uh, this is this I could there's no Zero is the floor. Zero is the floor. Like, I'm pretty sure that nothing's gonna get worse than that. Yes, I know. Even that. even that, Dorian, I know that you had that thought immediately pop into your head. I'm going to like 5 and 6 more than this because it's going to be knowingly stupid.
We'll see.
0, on the other hand, I feel like no, look, 6 is the fact that I'm playing it with you means that I'm already gonna like 6 more because I'm going to hear the pain in your voice, and
Ugh.
that's going to give me life because
Ugh.
I know I'm going to hate that video game and love it at the same time.
Ugh. Well, let's not talk about it right now. I've still got some freedom until that point.
So yeah, 0 floor. I can already tell Code Veronica it's not going to be better than 1 because 1 at least felt like it had just the right atmosphere and the right balance of the horror and corniness. Jesus Christ! Every single time that people speak, it's just like, man, you guys just did not have any direction, did you? You just really didn't. It might just be age, but also at the end of the day, the very fact that Metal Gear Solid 1 exists, just makes you go, well, there is a bar. The
Yeah,
bar was
no,
set, and then you
true.
guys did it.
They didn't care.
Exactly. So yeah, exactly. It's going to be 0, Code Veronica. I'm willing to say that even just an hour into Code Veronica. Like, there's no way this is gonna. I'm tired of this already. So Code Veronica, and then Resident Evil 1 is at the top. Like, so this where I'm okay. You haven't gotten to Code Veronica, so it's obviously just going to be 1 and then 0 for you, right?
Correct. 1 and then 0 so far.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I guess that's the episode.
That is the episode.
There's a whole bunch of pauses that you guys have no idea, and I'm going to do my best to try to edit it so you don't notice it.
No, it's going to sound beautiful. You will never notice for sure.
All right, well, here's the end card as always.
Hey, look at you. You got to the end of the episode. From episode 0 to the day that I finally get lazy and cancel the show, a big thank you to Joey Rawlings for providing the perfect name for the show. Be sure to always give him thanks, either out loud as you're listening to this, or you can just send him a thank you tweet at boogeyman117_. That's boogeyman117, IE instead of Y, double O. Be sure that it's an underscore, not a dash, 117.